Deming?
Deming? Oh, that's in New Mexico.
Well, is it a nice place?
Well, sure. Why?
Oh, this girl I know is going to move there.
Oh? Is she a nice girl, Chester?
She was.
What do you mean she was?
Well, I haven't seen her since she was about 10, and that was over 20 years ago.
Well, what are you writing to the girl for, Chester?
Oh, I don't write to her. I write to her brother, Welby. He tells me about everything.
Well, I better get out before you explain it to me.
He wants me to marry up with her, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, he does, huh?
Yes, sir, but once a year, regular, I write and tell him I won't do it. She's getting too danged old. That's what's the matter with her.
Well, don't forget to put the lamp out before you leave the office tonight, Chester.
No, sir, I won't.
Get out!
You see anybody? You want the rifle?
No. Crawl over and put the lamp out, Chester, but keep low.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll wait here a minute.
He'll get away.
He had a rifle, Chester, and he was in the alley right across the street. It was mighty poor shooting. That's all he wanted to do was scare me.
Oh, then it was that gambler you told me about. Corder, huh?
Yeah, maybe. But I can't prove it.
Well, you sure ought to do something about it.
I am. Gonna get something to eat.
What?
Well, you go out and drop the word here and there about me getting shot at.
But why?
Just do it, Chester.
Yes, sir.
I'll be around later.
Evening, Matt.
Hello, Kitty. You, busy?
No? Sit down.
Thank you.
I heard about you getting shot at tonight.
Well, I've been shot before, Kitty.
Oh. And I suppose I shouldn't worry about it.
Now, Kitty, don't start that.
It's just luck you weren't killed years ago, Matt.
It stopped being luck, Kitty, when I learned how to handle a gun myself.
Sure. And anyway, somebody has to enforce the law, don't they?
Well, that's the way I look at it.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Good evening, Marshal.
Hello, Corder. Right pretty girl.
How long you been wearing shoes, mister?
Look here.
Say what you have to say, Corder.
You sure do make it hard to be friends, Marshal. I only wanted to say that I heard that you got shot at tonight.
So?
Well, I'm sorry it happened, that's all. I don't envy a man has to be a marshal. It's mighty dangerous. Besides that, it usually don't pay very good.
And what do you think I ought to do about it, Corder? Quit?
No, that ain't necessary, Marshal. Because if you were smart, you could stay right here and make good money and be real safe to boot.
I didn't know for sure it was you, Corder. But now I know.
What are you talking about?
There's a stage leaving Dodge about sunup. You're going to be on it.
Oh, no, I'm opening a new game across the street tomorrow.
Now take your gun, Corder.
Oh, wait a minute, Marshal. You can't do that.
I think I can.
Oh, by heaven, you...
Corder went to bed early that night, in jail. But I got him up next morning in plenty of time to make the stage. He climbed into it, meek as a bird, and then it left. And I soon forgot about him. Like so many others I'd run out of Dodge, I figured he'd keep going and make his trouble somewhere else. But a couple of weeks later, I found out I'd figured wrong. I was walking up Front Street one afternoon with Doc.
I tell you, Matt, I'm going to take down my shingle one of these days and let all these people find themselves a good vet.
Who's been souring your milk, Doc?
Oh, Miss Humboldt. That's her. She's been coming in every day for a week.
You're usually complaining about a shortage of patients, Doc.
Yeah, well, that woman's not a patient. She's a suicide.
Well, now, Doc, that might be said of anybody who comes to you.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, the price for cutting bullets out of you just went up, Matt.
Okay. Tell me about Miss Humboldt.
Oh, she wants to be bled all the time, and I won't do it.
A lot of people think bleeding's good for them.
Well, I don't, and I just...
Oh, hello, Doc.
All right, Chester.
He's right inside the Alpha here, Mr. Dillon. I just saw him.
Who did you see, Chester?
That gambler, Corder.
What?
And he's got somebody else with him, some stranger.
Well, we'll see you later, Doc.
Oh, yeah, well, sure, man.
Come on, Chester.
There they are. At the bar, Mr. Dillon.
Well, I'll be...
There he is, Toke. That's him. Him? I'm back, Marshal. Brought a man with me to sort of look after my interests. You won't buffalo him so easy.
Hello, Toke.
You really the marshal here?
Didn't Corder tell you?
He didn't mention no name.
What are you talking about?
Toke Moreland and I are old friends, Corder. We worked and rode a long time together. In fact, we went through quite a lot. Didn't we, Toke?
Too much, Matt. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
You're marshal now, huh?
And you've sold your gun to Corder here. Is that right?
That's right.
So you're here to kill me?
Yeah. I'm here to kill you.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, tomorrow night, Herbert Marshall stars as the Honorable Edmund Burke, British statesman and member of Parliament. Hear his story on CBS Radio tomorrow night on the Radio Hall of Fame with Lionel Barrymore as your host. Now the second act of Gunsmoke.
It was a bad feeling to meet Toke Moreland again after some 15 years, and to have him standing at the bar of the Alafraganza, hired by a crooked gambler to kill me. Toke and I had run horses together over in Colorado, until the night we rode into La Junta and got taken by a drunken mob and beaten half to death. And the next day, when they found out we weren't the men they wanted, it was too late. By then, something had gone wrong inside Toke. And as soon as he could climb on a horse, he'd ridden off without a word. I never saw him again. Until now.
How long you been a marshal?
Quite a while, Toke.
I never figured a lawman for much.
A lot of people don't. Like Corder here.
Go ahead, Toke. Shoot him. I'll back you up.
I handle my own gunfighting, Corder.
I want to talk to you, Toke. Come on over to the table.
No, you don't, Marshal. You stay
Shut
right
up,
here.
Corder. Come on, Toke. Sit down. Well, Toke, is this your profession now? Shooting people?
I gamble a little.
Why do you do it, Toke?
I don't like people much. Not after what happened at La Junta.
Oh, you got over that beating? We both did. Anyway, that was a long time ago.
Maybe my memory is better than yours.
No, it isn't. We both changed after that, Toke.
We sure did.
But in different ways. Now you hate everybody, I just hate mobs. I guess that's one reason I became a lawman.
There was a lawman helping them that night at La Junta. The sheriff himself.
Well, there are good sheriffs and bad.
Like marshals.
Like anybody, Toke.
Kind of too bad you're a marshal, Matt.
You mean you're going through with this anyway?
I never back off from a fight.
Well, suppose I won't fight.
I get paid all the same. But you'll have to get out of Dodge.
You think I'll do that?
No. But I'll give you 24 hours to worry it around.
All right, Tuck. That gives you 24 hours, too.
I don't change. Talk's nothing to me.
But money is.
It adds to the pleasure.
Tell me something, Tuck.
Huh?
You'd, enjoy shooting me?
You ain't Matt Dillon no more. You're a lawman. Same as the one who helped him half kill me. You too, Lord.
Ah, you're a fool, Tuck.
Maybe. But I'm a pretty good gunman.
Sure.
You can let Corder run his game here, or you can quit.
It's a crooked game. There'd be fights. Men would die.
24 hours, Marshal Dillon.
Okay. 24 hours. Your cut, Chester.
You sure you don't want to stop, Mr. Dillon?
Just because I've been losing?
It could be a bad omen, especially today.
That's like I told Kitty, Chester. I don't depend on luck.
Oh. Oh, well. You two still playing cards?
Oh, Doc.
Doc, how many, Chester?
One.
Mm-hmm. Matt, you've been hiding out in here all day long while everybody's talking about how you let that gambler come back to town yesterday after running him out. And I don't like it.
I'm taking 3, Chester. It'll all be settled tonight, Doc.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're saying you're afraid of that gunman he's got with him, that toke something.
It's your bet, Chester. Doc, don't get drunk too early today, huh? We might need you.
Oh, I quit. I can't even think of that, Mr. Dillon.
Okay, Chester.
If there's anything I hate, it's a paid gunman.
A paid gunman? Oh, so that's what he is.
Ain't there no way at all to stop him, Mr. Dillon?
How are you going to stop a man that kills just for money?
Just for money. Hey, wait a minute. Doc, do you know where he is now?
Well, he was in the Texas Trail a little while ago, Matt.
Good. I'll be back later. Hello, Toke.
Well, Marshal Dillon. Sit down, Marshal. You know Miss Kitty here?
Hello, Matt.
Kitty?
I've been talking about you, me and Kitty. Been talking about me, too.
Good. That's what I want to talk about, Toke.
Me? Well, go right ahead. But don't stay too long. She's a real pretty girl, Matt.
Maybe I'd better leave.
If you leave, I leave with you.
Matt?
It's all right, Kitty. Stay. Toke, how much is Corder paying you to get rid of me?
$300?
Yeah. Well, what if I give you $300?
To shoot him.
You don't care who you kill, do you?
It don't matter much.
No. All right. I'll give you $300 to clear out of here and forget this whole business.
Why?
Well, we were good friends once, Toke, till you got mad and started hating everybody.
You've changed too, Matt. You sure never were a coward in the old days.
Is that what you think I am?
Well, so does Kitty. Don't you, Kitty?
Don't tell me what I think, mister.
He's full of vinegar, Matt. A girl like that deserves a real man. Yeah, I think I'll get my money from Corder so as I can hang around Dodge and get a little better acquainted with her.
Now I am leaving.
Well, I guess there's nothing more to say, Toke.
Nothing I know of. See you in about an hour, Marshal. Unless you go hide.
I told him, Mr. Dillon.
Thanks, Chester.
He said he likes the idea of meeting you in the street.
So do I. There's less chance of anybody else getting hurt out here.
Yes, sir. Uh-oh. There he comes.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillon, I wish you'd...
Get out of the street, Chester.
Yes, sir.
I guess you ain't a coward after all.
Then get out of Dodge, Toke. And take Corder with you.
Corder don't mean nothing to me.
Does anything?
Just killing people. Especially lawmen.
Okay, Toke. Go ahead.
Watch me. I'm hurt, Matt. Bad.
Yeah.
You hit me. Both times.
I had to.
Funny thing, Matt.
What?
I'm lying here, flooding inside, dying. But I ain't mad no more. I don't hate nobody.
Toke,
It's too late to do anything about it.
Yeah. It's too late, Toke.
Sure. Here it is.
Chester,
Yes, sir.
take care of him, will you?
You going after Corder?
Corder isn't the kind of man who'll stay around after this. No, I'm going for a ride. Alone.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Lawrence Dobkin, and Vic Perrin. Parley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Laughs Ahead on CBS Radio tomorrow night with Our Miss Brooks on most of these stations. George Walsh speaking. Stay tuned now for Gangbusters, which follows in a few minutes over most of these same stations. There's comedy with My Little Margie Sunday nights on the CBS Radio Network.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield, America's most popular two-way cigarette. What a pair. Chesterfield King Size at the new low price. Chesterfield Regular.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely. Oh, no, I'm not, Chester. I'm looking for a cup of coffee. Thought I'd go into Delmonico's here. You want to join me?
Well, sure, I'd like to, but maybe I better go on down to the depot.
Oh, what for?
The mail. I never got there at noon. That's why I thought you was going now.
Well, I don't care about the mail, Chester. Yeah, but come to think of it, you did start out at noon, didn't you? What happened?
I got robbed.
Got robbed?
Yes, sir. Over at the Alfraganza.
Oh, you've been gambling all afternoon, huh?
Not all afternoon, Mr. Dillon. I watched the game for about an hour before I set in.
Well, you should have gone on watching it.
Oh, yes, you're right. Absolutely right. Cost me my last $10. But I thought sure I'd win this time.
Oh, why?
Because it was my last $10 for the month. I had to.
Well, that's about as good a reason for winning as any, I guess.
Yes, sir. You know, there's just too much month for my pay, Mr. Dillon. Anyway, I might have won if I hadn't got cheated.
Oh, it's a crooked game?
The fellow dealing was crooked. I know he was. But I sure didn't want to start no argument with him. No, sir, not him.
Well, why? Who was he?
I don't know. Some stranger calls himself Sam Kircher.
What?
Sam Kircher. You know him?
Oh, but I've heard of him.
Who is he?
He's a gunman, Chester.
Oh, I recognize that. That's why I didn't make no fuss about his crooked dealing.
Well, you were smart. Kircher's the kind of man who enjoys killing. He's got a big reputation for it out in Arizona.
Well, what's he doing here, I wonder?
I don't know, Chester. But let's go find out.
That's him, Mr. Dillon. Just getting up from the table over there. I guess the game's finished.
Funny you'd tell you his name, Chester. A man like that usually doesn't talk so much.
No, sir, but I didn't think nothing about it at the time. He's coming over here at the bar, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
Glass of whiskey, bartender.
Hello, Kircher.
Where you been, Dillon?
What?
Took you long enough to get here. It's been a half hour since I cheated your friend here out of his money.
Cheated me, you see? I told you he did. But how do you know I was a friend of Mr. Dillon?
I asked. Smart of me, wasn't it?
What'd you ask for? What difference it makes?
Never mind, Chester. What are you doing in Dodge, Kircher?
I got tired of Arizona.
Why?
Nobody left worth bothering about there.
You mean there's nobody left worth your killing, is that it?
Man can get rusty facing down bums and greenhorns, Dillon.
What's the matter with Tombstone? Wyatt Earp wrote me it's a lively town these days.
Oh, too many of them Earps. And they got Doc Halliday with them, too. Man, be a fool to ride into that camp.
Well, you draw a line somewhere, don't you?
One man at a time's good enough for me, Dillon. I ain't greedy.
Now, you're kind of greedy about money.
What do you mean?
You admitted cheating Chester out of his $10.
I had a reason for that, Dillon.
Now, did you?
Yeah. He was hanging around watching the game, and I found out who he was. So when he sat down, I took him. I can deal faster than that. I wanted him to know and run tell you about it.
Why?
I wanted to meet you, Dillon. Always like to get to know the leading citizens of a place.
You got your own way of going about it.
Are you objecting?
Ordinarily, I object to cheating at cards, yeah. But with you, I don't think it matters much. Now, what are you doing in Dodge, Kircher?
I was nearby, up in Colorado. I heard about you there, Dillon. You've got quite a reputation.
I'm a lawman, Kircher, not a gunman. I don't care about my reputation.
I do.
Yeah. You came here to kill me, huh?
That's what I came for, Dillon.
Kircher, I'm going to tell you something.
What?
Men like you are as useless as wolves. I hate every one of your kind.
And that'll make it easier for you to fight me, Dillon. I'll meet you out in the plaza, sundown tomorrow.
Dillon?
Huh?
I've been thinking about sundown all day long. I feel terrible about this.
Oh, why? It isn't your trouble.
Yes, sir, I know, but if I hadn't sat in that game yesterday, things might be different.
Sam Kirchard have found me soon enough. That's what he said he came here for.
I heard him. But I still feel guilty.
What's the matter, Chester? You afraid he'll kill me?
Is he really good?
Well, he's beat a lot of men.
You're going to fight him, ain't you?
Yeah, that's the worst part of this job, Chester, having men like Sam Kircher come around looking for another notch on his gun. There's nothing I can do about it.
Well, you don't have to fight him, Mr. Dillon.
No, I don't. I could avoid it.
How?
Run away?
Oh. Look out the window here, Mr. Dillon. The plaza's plumb deserted.
Sure.
Guess the word's got around. Mr. Dillon,
Yeah, what?
he's coming. Sam Kircher. Walking across the plaza.
Well, must be sundown.
Yes, sir, it is.
Don't come out the door, Chester, or you'll be behind me. I'm only going as far as the boardwalk.
I won't. I'll stay right here. But if anything happens, then I'm coming out, by golly.
Don't be a fool.
Come on out in the street, Dillon. What you standing there for? What's the matter with you? You scared? Why don't you come down here, Dillon? There's a lot of people hid out watching us. Been a long time since a marshal was killed in Dodge.
I don't want to hear your talk, Kircher. Let's get this over with.
You did it, Mr. Dillon. Why, he didn't hardly have his gun out before you hit him the first time. I was watching him.
I didn't wait for him. I drew first.
You did?
Giving a man a chance to be arrested is one thing. Shooting down a killer's another.
Yes, sir.
This is nothing but slaughter. Brainless slaughter. Like I said, it's the worst part of this miserable job. I guess it helped, ridding the country of a man like Sam Kircher. Shooting him down, killing him. But the trouble was that it made you feel like a part of his own senselessness when you did it. And everybody congratulating you afterwards and looking up to you. That didn't help any. That's one thing that got men like Kircher started off wrong in the first place. All the talk, all the admiration for gunfighters. Like with a kid I met at the Texas Trail one night a couple of months later. He was sitting with Kitty when I came in.
Evening, Matt. Tom.
Ah, thanks, Kitty.
This is Marshal Dillon, Pete.
I know. I've seen him.
Pete, huh? Well, I never saw you around before, Pete.
He rode in yesterday, Matt. His first time. Good thing, too. He's only 16.
Yeah, that's young, especially for a town like Dodge. Where you from, Pete?
On west of here.
Cowboy?
I was.
That's what I've been arguing with him about, Matt. He says he's through being a cowboy.
Oh, is that so? Why?
I got other things to do.
Like what?
I'm going to buy me a gun, Marshal.
A gun?
Sure. And I'm going to learn to use it, too. A man's no good without a gun.
Oh?
Pete, you start carrying a gun and you get handy with it and you'll grow up to be a U.S. Marshal or something.
Ah, Kitty.
I mean it. I never saw a man start using a gun yet that he didn't have to go on using it the rest of his life. However long that is.
Tell me something, Pete. What, gave you this idea?
What's wrong with it? Everybody carries a gun. Of course, everybody can't use them real good, but I'll learn. I'll get good. Good as you are, Marshal.
Oh?
Sure. Maybe even better. Who knows?
That's what I mean. It all leads to nothing but getting killed. Who cares how good you are with a gun? There's always somebody better.
She's right, Pete. Why don't you forget about this and go find yourself a job out in the country somewhere and go to work, huh?
I'm going to have to, Marshal. I'm plumb broke right now.
Oh, good. That's fine. You know anybody around here?
Nope.
Well, look, I'll tell you. Emmett Bowers is due in town tomorrow. He runs a big outfit, and he can always use an extra hand. You meet me in the lobby of the Dodge House tomorrow morning, and, well, we'll have a talk with him.
Okay. I better be going now. I gotta find me a place to sleep.
Oh, Pete. Here's $1. You can pay me back later.
No. No, I couldn't take it. No, thanks. Good night. Good night, Kitty.
So long, Pete.
Good night.
He's got a lot of pride, that kid.
Yeah. But it's mostly the wrong kind.
Maybe. Well, he'll probably forget about this gunfighting business once he's back out in the country where he belongs.
Well, I hope so. There are enough gunmen around already.
Oh, Pete's all right. Don't worry about him.
No, I won't, Kitty. Unless he comes back someday. Pete was at the Dodge House next morning, and we found him at Bowers there and got him a job right off. They rode out of town together that evening, and I watched him go, hoping that a lot of hard work would give Pete something to think about besides becoming a gunfighter. Anyway, I'd done what I could, and I forgot about it. Till a couple of months later, when I happened to go into Jonah's General Store.
Well, morning, Marshal Dillon.
Hello, Miss Jonas. Well, how come you're running the store?
Why, hadn't you heard, Marshal?
Oh, no, heard what?
My husband's got the ague real bad. I've been taking care of him and running the store, too.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am. But how do you manage to do both?
Well, I moved his bed into the storeroom out back. Matter of fact, Doc Adams is in there with him now.
Oh?
Oh, that poor man, Marshal. He's had chills one day and fever the next for nigh on to a week.
Well, Doc will fix him up. Doc can cure almost anything.
I can cure anything but a liar, Matt.
What? Oh, hello, Doc. I didn't know you were listening.
I was listening. I heard what you said. And it was a long way from what you told me the other day.
Why, what do you mean, Doc?
Mrs. Jonas, he told me the only thing croakers were good for was performing autopsies and signing death certificates. That's exactly what he said.
Death certificate?
Now, don't let him scare you, ma'am. Nobody ever died of ague yet, doctor or no doctor.
Oh, Matt, why aren't you out patrolling Front Street or keeping the peace somewhere like you're paid to do?
Man can't work all the time, Doc.
Oh, we can. Yes, well, I'll just remember that the next time you come hounding me out of bed in the middle of the night to patch up some bad man that you've just torn apart.
When you're through here, I'll buy you a glass of beer, Doc. It's awful hot today.
Yeah, I don't mind the heat. Yeah, well, I'll take you up on it, though. Just say, Mrs. Jonas, if your husband complains about his ears roaring, it's the quinine I gave him. So just you don't worry about it.
Oh, all right.
Marshal.
Well, hello, Pate. How are you?
I'm okay.
Oh, Pate, you know Miss Jonas here?
Ma'am?
Hello, Pate.
And Doc Adams.
Howdy do.
Doc?
Pate's been riding for Emmett Bowers the last couple of months.
Oh, that's fine. Emmett's a good boss, I've always heard.
He's all right.
They treating you okay out there?
It's like any other job punching cows, Marshal. Short grub and long hours.
Yeah, sure. Oh, what you doing in town? Did you come in with Emmett?
No. I come in alone.
Oh? You, didn't quit, did you?
I quit. I drew my time last night.
Yeah, I was afraid so.
Ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
I want me a 6-gun and a holster and a belt. And all the ammunition the rest of my money will buy.
Well, now, son, ain't you a little young to be carrying a gun?
I'm 16. And if I'm old enough to do a man's work, I guess I'm old enough to live like a man.
Live like a man? You mean die like one, don't you, young fella?
I ain't afraid to die.
I don't know. I've dug bullets out of all kinds of men, young and old. And no matter how they talk, every one of them's been afraid.
I get good enough, I'll do the killing. If I'm given a decent chance.
Pate, tell me something. How'd you get started on all this in the first place?
I don't mind telling you, Marshal. Now I got money for a gun, and I can start practicing.
Oh, wait a minute. Is there some particular man you're after? Is that it?
Yeah. That's it, Marshal.
Well, who is he?
You.
Me?
I'm going to fight you, Marshal. And I'm going to kill you if I can.
Well, why? I never saw you before in my life till you came here.
Pate's my first name, Marshal.
So?
My last name's Kircher. I heard about how you shot my brother, so I come here to take his place.
Pate, Sam Kircher was nothing but a killer. He was no good.
You drew first on him.
What difference does it make? Your brother came after me for only one reason, to kill me so he could be a big man. You think I'm going to take a chance being killed for anything as brainless as that?
There's rules to gunfighting, Marshal. He wasn't ready to draw.
Where'd you get all these crazy ideas, kid? Who taught you that killing people is a game of some sort?
My brother told me all about it a long time ago.
Yeah, sure. Now, for him, it was a game. That's what was wrong with him.
He'd have beat you if he'd have been ready.
Pate, do you wait for a mad dog to bite you before you try to stop him? And your brother was ready. He rode into Dodge ready.
Well, I'll be ready for you. In a few weeks, I will.
You will, huh? Look, Pate, I've been handling a gun for years. What makes you think that you can go against me in a few weeks? Unless you're planning something else.
No, Marshal, I'll never shoot anybody in the back, not even you.
You're not bad, Pate, but you sure got everything mixed up.
Why? 'Cause I'm only 16? You see what I can do, Marshal. You see.
Well, what if I won't draw on you?
I'll kill you anyway. Like you say, what difference does it make?
All right. If you're going to act like your brother, I'll treat you like your brother. And when you come gunning for me, I'll shoot you down as fast as I did him. So go ahead and practice. Practice all you like. But when you face me, I'll have 3 bullets in you before you clear your holster. I don't care how old you are. If I thought getting mad would scare some sense into Pate Kircher, I was wrong. He went ahead and bought his 6-gun, and every day he spent hours down by the Arkansas practicing with it. In a few years, that kind of concentration might have made him into a fair gunfighter, but as it turned out, he didn't get a few years. He didn't get more than about 10 days, and those 10 days got spent fast. One evening, I was sitting on the porch not far from the Texas Trail, watching the crowd push up and down Front Street.
Oh, hello, Marshal.
Hello, John.
Matt.
Oh, hello, Kitty.
Matt, Chester's in the trail there, and he asked me to come find you.
Oh, why? What's the trouble?
You know Jack Rining?
Yeah, I know him.
Well, he's at the bar in there, and he's making fun of young Pate. Chester isn't sure how much Pate's going to take from him.
Oh, Rannon's more than just a bully, Kitty. He's dangerous.
Well, Chester tried to make him stop, but it didn't do any good, Matt.
I hope Pate isn't fool enough to try to take him. Ryan will kill him, sure, if he does.
I tried to tell him he shouldn't be wearing a gun, but you know Pate. He won't listen to anybody.
You better wait out here.
I aim to.
Leave the kid alone, Riding. He ain't bothering you none.
Get out of the way, Chester. Everybody else, get out of the way, too. I'm giving you one more chance, Pate. You throw that gun away or you start using it.
Go ahead and draw, Ryan. I ain't afraid of you.
Okay. I will.
No, don't do it, Riding. No. Ah!
All right, shut up, everybody.
My hand.
Shut up.
You busted my hand, Marshal. What'd you do that for? This ain't your fight. It's like shooting a man in the back. You ruined my hand.
You were about to murder this boy, Ryan, and I should have shot you in the head. Now go on over to Doc's if your hand bothers you.
It bothers me. It's smashed.
Good. I wonder how many lives that's going to save. Now go on. Get out of here.
I'm going. You ruined me. That's what you've done. We'll see about this.
Oh, he'd have killed him, sure, Mr. Dillon. Pate never even got his gun out.
That's true, I didn't. I kind of froze. I don't know why.
Pate, Jack Ryan's the same kind of man your brother was, always looking to kill somebody. And if you still think it's a game of some kind, go on wearing that gun. And when the time comes, I'll see you buried with it. But that's all I'll do for you. All right, come on, Chester. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Marshal, wait a minute. Marshal,
Yeah.
you saved my life just now.
He sure did. One more second, you'd have had a bullet clean through you.
I know that. But I don't understand.
What don't you understand?
Well, you could have let him kill me, and then I wouldn't be after you no more, would I?
Not dead, you wouldn't.
But you saved the life of a man who sworn to kill you, Marshal.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, why'd you do it?
Because you didn't have a chance with him, Pate. Not a chance.
I'm kind of confused, Marshal.
You are?
I sure am.
Well, it's about time. Maybe you'll figure it out now, Pate, if you give yourself half a chance.
Marshal, I always could think better when I'm riding a horse. I'm going back to my job.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, Pete.
Would you do me a favor?
Sure.
Well, punching cows will keep me so busy I won't have time to practice much. Would you hold on to my gun for me?
What?
Here.
Yeah, sure I will, Pete. Sure I will. I'll keep it for you. For a long time, I hope.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Doc went on ahead, Mr. Dillon. He said to tell you he'd meet you there.
From what you say, there isn't much use for either one of us, Chester.
No, sir. Poor old Mr. Sawyer. He looked long dead to me.
Right in his office, huh?
Yes, sir. That's where the boy found him. Looked like he pulled a chair into the middle of the room and stood on it. Hanging sure is a bad way to die, ain't it?
I guess when a man wants to kill himself, it doesn't matter much how he does it.
No, sir.
How come there's no crowd outside?
Well, I told the boy to go on home, not to talk to anybody.
Oh, good.
And then I went in, cut Mr. Sawyer down. I come looking for you and Doc.
Uh-huh. The door wasn't locked, huh?
No, sir.
Hello, Matt.
Well, I guess you're too late this time, Doc.
Yes, an hour anyway. I don't understand it, Matt. Sawyer was doing fine in his hide business. He didn't have any problems at all that I know of.
Maybe it was his wife dying, Doc.
Oh, no. That was a year ago, Chester. He'd got used to that.
Maybe he hadn't. Maybe he was just saving it all up for this.
Well, we'll never know now.
Chester.
Yes, sir?
When you found him, was that chair where it is now?
Yes, sir. It ain't been moved, Mr. Dillon. He stood on it and then kicked it over, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad way to die.
I sure wouldn't never try it, Doc.
Well, I hope not, Chester.
No, well, what I mean is, supposing you kick the chair out from under you and then change your mind. Oh, wouldn't that be fearsome?
Probably happens to a lot of suicides, Chester.
Doc.
Oh, yes, Matt.
Are there any bruises on him?
I don't know, Matt. I haven't looked. Let me see. Of course, hanging doesn't bruise, but... wait a minute. See, there is a lump here. On the back of his head. Now, how do you get that?
Sawyer always kept a tin box over in that cabinet, Doc.
What's that got to do with this lump on his head?
He kept his ready cash in that box. It's not there now.
You mean somebody stole it? Now, who'd do that?
Whoever walked in here hit him in the head and hoisted him up on that rope. I knew old Sawyer pretty well. He wasn't the kind of a man who'd kill himself.
By heaven, I think you're right, Matt.
He didn't have any enemies. Whoever did this is going to be mighty hard to find.
That was an awful little bunch of mourners at the burying today, wasn't it, Mr. Dillon?
Well, I guess people kind of shy away from suicides, Chester.
Poor old man Sawyer. Seems pretty mean letting everybody go on believing he went and hung himself.
He won't mind, Chester. But if the man who killed him thinks he got by with it, he just might get careless.
Yes, sir, he might. Hey, who's that Miss Kitty's walking with?
I don't know.
She's right pretty. For Dodge.
Yeah. But, Chester, I wouldn't put it exactly that way to her if I were you.
Oh, well, I didn't mean nothing by it. I
Oh, Matt. Chester.
Hello, Miss Kitty.
How are you, Kitty?
Cora, I'd like you to meet Marshall Dillon and Chester Proudfoot. This is Cora Bell. How do you do?
How do you do?
If either of you ever come around to the Long Branch, you'd have met Cora a week ago.
Well, we've been pretty busy, Kitty.
Oh, sure.
I hope I'll see you over there soon, Marshall. And you too, Chester.
Oh, I'll be there, Miss Cora. Even tonight, maybe.
Good.
My.
Kitty, I promised Mel I'd meet him at Delmonico's. I'd better hurry along.
I'll see you tonight.
Bye.
Bye.
Matt, you know who this Mel is she's meeting?
No.
Mel Tucker.
Mel Tucker. That no good slack-jawed water.
They're in love, Chester.
Love, my.
Wild in love.
Oh,
Ever since they met a week ago.
I just can't believe it. About her, I mean.
Sometimes there's no accounting for women, Chester.
Heard Mel Tucker used to be something of a man, Matt.
He still carries a gun.
It's not exactly what I meant.
Oh, I guess he was all right. Before the whiskey took it out of him.
One thing, he's crazy jealous. About the worst I've ever seen.
Well, he ought to be. She got to look at a good man, she might come to her senses.
How'd they get started, Kitty?
Oh, Mel Tucker was over in Newton, and when he got on the Santa Fe for Dodge, Cora was on it, too. They're even talking of getting married, Matt.
Do you think they will?
As soon as Tucker gets hold of some money, they will.
And it won't be very soon. That man's been broke for 3 years.
I don't know, Chester. A man like Tucker might do anything for money.
Mr. Dillon, you ain't thinking...
We'll wait and see, Chester. It's all we can do.
Hey, look. Now there's something I've been looking for, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, what?
Over here in the store window.
Huh?
Look. Mr. Jonas finally got him in, see?
Oh, you mean those paper collars and cuffs?
No, them boot jacks.
Oh. They're pretty fancy.
Yeah, they're metal, Mr. Dillon.
And they cost $3. You could make one of your own with 10 cents worth of wood.
Yeah, but these is iron. They last forever.
Chester, wait a minute. Look inside there. Right at the counter there.
Why, it's Mel Tucker. And look at that pile of stuff he's bought.
Yeah. And look at the cash he's paying for it with.
Mr. Dillon, you really think he did it?
I'm going to try to find out.
How?
Oh, he's coming out now.
I guess he's going to pick up his stuff later. You'll need a wagon.
Oh, Tucker.
Oh. Hello, Marshal.
I notice you're buying a lot of new clothes. You getting married?
Yeah, I sure am, Marshal. Right soon. Going after Cora now, buy her some stuff.
Well, that's fine. I didn't know you were working.
Well, I'm not. Not here in Dodge.
Oh?
I made me some money over in Newton, Marshal.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
How?
Well, I don't see as it's anybody's business how, Marshal.
You will after you've been in jail a while.
Jail? What are you talking about?
Old man Sawyer was murdered, Tucker, and I happen to know that you did it.
You out of your head?
I got all the proof I need.
You're a liar.
The judge won't think so.
Well, you can't arrest me, Marshal. It ain't right.
Might go easier on you if you'd admit it, Tucker.
I ought to kill you.
You couldn't, and you know it. Now start walking. You know where the jail is.
Hi, Matt.
Oh, come on in, Doc.
I'm just killing a little time, Matt, so if you're busy... you
No.
can-
Sit down. There's nothing going on here.
Oh, well, thank you, Matt. Where's Chester?
He's probably over working on Mr. Jonas again.
Jonas? Well, what for?
Yeah, that metal boot jack. Chester won't pay more than $1, and Jonas is holding out for $2.50. It's been going on like that for a week.
Ever since you threw Mel Tucker in jail, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
He show any signs of weakening, Matt?
Now he won't admit a thing, Doc.
Cora been to see him?
Mm-hmm, every day. But, that's beginning to work on Tucker.
What is?
Being in jail, he can't ride herd on her the way he's been doing. Kitty was right. He's a mighty jealous man.
You still think he did it, Matt?
Yeah, I do. It looks like I'm going to have a hard time proving it.
You sure?
Hey, Mr. Dillon, have you...
Oh,
hello, Doc.
Chester. Don't see any boot jack, Chester.
Never mind that. You better get on over to Bob Randall's freight office.
Huh? What for?
Autopsy, I guess. He's dead, Doc.
What happened, Chester?
Well, sir, I was walking by his office, and his wife went out and said she dropped by to see him and found him hanging there.
Hanging?
Just like old man Sawyer. Exact same thing. I went in and cut him down. This time I took a look around. He'd been hit on the head all right, and somebody tried to open his safe. They didn't get nothing, but they'd sure been working on him.
Well, Matt?
Wait here a minute, Doc. I'll go over with you.
Marshal, when are you going to give up and leave me out of here?
You're out, Tucker.
Mean it?
Yeah, I made a mistake about you.
I've been telling you that. What finally changed your mind?
What do you care? You're free. Now get going. Get married, do anything you want.
I sure will. Just tell you one thing, Marshal.
What?
I ain't gonna forget what you done to me. I'm already thinking up how to pay you back someday.
I said get out of here, Tucker. You busy, Kitty?
No. Sit down, man. What's on your mind?
Oh, plenty.
You didn't enjoy having to turn Mel Tucker loose yesterday, did you?
Yeah, there wasn't anything else I could do, Kitty.
You've made mistakes before, Matt. You don't usually take it so hard.
Kitty, Mel Tucker's perfectly capable of having killed old man Sawyer.
But he sure didn't do it.
Yeah. Sometimes I gotta do my hunting like a lion in a tree. Just lie still and wait.
And you don't like that, do you?
I've done enough of it, Kitty.
I know. Well, I'll say one thing about Mel Tucker, Matt. A week in jail sure made a change in him.
Oh, what do you mean?
He's been meek as a lamb since he got out.
About what?
About Cora. Look at them. All three of them standing at the bar over there. Real friendly like.
Who's that other man?
Oh, that's Dan Dressler. He and Cora have been together a lot lately.
Oh? Oh, where'd he come from?
I don't know. He rode into town a day or so after you threw Tucker in jail.
Maybe Tucker doesn't know about Cora and him, huh?
They're just friends. They act like a big, happy family, Matt.
I see. Tucker and Cora still planning on getting married?
Well, not for a while. Cora says they're broke.
Broke? With $300?
Who's got $300?
Mel Tucker. It's what he had when I jailed him. It's what I returned to him yesterday.
Well, that doesn't make sense, does it?
Maybe it does, Kitty. Look, will you do something for me?
What?
It won't be easy, and it'll make you look pretty bad.
Then it must be important, or you wouldn't ask me to do it.
It is, Kitty. You see that table over there in the corner, just inside the hallway?
Yeah, sure.
I want you to get Cora and Tucker and this Dressler over there. Offer to buy him a drink or something, huh?
And then what?
Let's go out back before they happen to see us. I'll tell you there. Now be quiet with this door, Chester.
Yes, sir, I will.
That's good. All right, now follow me.
Good thing this hallway ain't creaky.
Now, this is far enough.
They at the table yet?
Yeah, I think so.
I sure do hope this notion works, Mr. Dillon, and I hope Miss Kitty don't get hurt out of it.
Well, I'll try to stop anything like that, Chester. Look, I'm going to get closer. You wait and then follow me, huh?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your buying us all a drink, Kitty, but I don't know why you're doing it.
Kitty's a nice girl, Mel. Not enough reason?
Yeah, I guess so. Most people I know don't do nothing for you without wanting something out of it.
No, Dad.
Juster's right, Carl.
What?
I'm not a nice girl. There's something I want.
There, you see? I told you.
What do you want, Kitty?
I want Mel Tucker to know about you and Dan Dressler.
To know about me and Dan.
I don't like to watch a man being made a fool of, the way you're doing to Tucker.
What are you talking about?
No. You better explain yourself, Kitty.
I will, Tucker. You think Dan Dressler's a friend, don't you?
Go on, keep talking.
Well, he's a friend, all right. But Cora's friend, not yours. They were out together every night. You were in jail, and every day, too.
That's a lie. Shut up, leave her talk, Dressler.
Everybody in Dodge knows what they've been doing except you. I guess I'm the only person who's not afraid to tell you. You think she's in love with you?
Kitty!
Get up, Dressler. Oh, wait a minute, Tucker. You ain't going to listen to that fool. You going to get up or I'm going to shoot you right there.
No, Mel, it's a trick.
Cora, you shut up.
You better stop it, Mr. Dillon.
I can't, Chester, not yet.
All right, Dressler. I paid you to hang Bob Randall. I didn't pay you to make love to my girl.
All right, that's it.
Get up now, fool, Tucker.
That's enough, Tucker.
He was going to shoot Cora, Matt.
Chester.
Yes, sir.
Get Tucker's gun.
Yes, sir, I will. Dressler dead, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah.
You sure walloped Tucker a good one.
Mel was going to kill me. The marshal hadn't hit him, he'd have killed me.
I'm sorry I had to do it, Cora.
Mel was going to kill me. He shouldn't have been jealous of me. He shouldn't have been jealous of me.
Cora, you hired Dan Dressler to hang Randall, didn't you?
Mel made me do it.
But you're an accomplice.
I only did what Mel told me. It wasn't my idea. I didn't murder the man. I loved Mel. I had to do it. I loved him. I loved him.
Well, it's just too bad you loved him, Cora. Because now you're as guilty as he is. Come on. You know, on the frontier, a newcomer could almost always find some land and a little water to build himself a ranch. But next week, trouble comes to Dodge when two men claim title to the same area. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Virginia Gregg, and John Daner. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, brought to you by L&M, the modern cigarette that lets you get full, exciting flavor through the modern miracle of the pure white miracle tip. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Mr. Dillon?
Are you eating already, Chester?
No, sir.
Oh, why not?
Well, I didn't like to ask Alfred for no more credit.
Oh. Yeah, I heard that you were at Chalk Beeson's faro table again last night.
All right. Read me a sermon. I deserve it.
I guess an empty belly will do you more good than a sermon. I tell you what, you can think about that while I'm eating, huh? And that's where I'm heading right now.
All right, sir. But I think a sermon would do me good, too. You know, all about the evils of gambling.
Mm-hmm.
It kindly would lift me up, Mr. Dillon. The best one I ever heard was back in Prairie Falls.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting.
This here circuit rider was a real hellfire and brimstoner. Come right into the gambling hall, he did, and stood up on the table. He like got shot before he finished the first sentence.
Look,
but
Chester,
he
could you tell me
out-shouted them and went right on. Took up a collection afterwards, must have got $40, $50. But there was only one trouble.
Yeah, what was it, Chester?
Well, nothing much, really. Only the money was in chips. See, he could cash 'em or play 'em. He played 'em, and he won. That kindly soured everybody on the sermon.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go eat now, Chester. I'll be back.
There's more to the story than...
Hello.
Are you the marshal here?
Yeah, that's right. You want to see me?
If you're not too busy.
No, come in. This is Chester Proudfoot.
Hello.
How do you do?
My name is Ascom, Marshal. Clint Ascom. I'm a gambler.
Well, I kind of figured that. But you're not from around here. I'd say maybe you work the Mississippi riverboats, huh?
That's pretty close. The Ohio.
Ah. Well, you're a long way from water here.
Thanks to the Santa Fe Railroad. But that's only a temporary necessity. I have a matter to settle.
Oh, well, how can I help you?
I'm looking for a man. I've traced him to this vicinity.
Uh-huh. Now, you know his name?
That's all I know. His name is Cass. Jameson Cass.
Old Jim Cass? Well, I never figured him to get mixed up with gambling and such.
You do know him, then.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can direct me to him, then.
Well, he has a place out in the country.
Those aren't very explicit directions, Marshal.
No, they're not.
But they're all I'll get?
Well, I'd like to know what your business with him is.
It's a personal matter.
Oh, sure, but what?
You told me what I wanted to know, Marshal. He's here. I'll find him without your help.
Ask him. Why do you want to kill Jim Cass?
What makes you think I'd do?
A man eaten up by hate gets a look in his eyes. I've seen it too often. Now, why?
I've got reason.
Better be a good one. You say you've never even seen Jim Cass, huh?
Nope.
Well, he's a peaceful little man. He doesn't even wear a gun. And murder is illegal around here.
I'll remember that.
You better remember something else, too. Jim Cass is a friend of mine. You go anywhere near him, and it'll be a pleasure to run you clear out of the country.
It wouldn't do any good, Marshal. I'll get him, sooner or later. Good afternoon.
Well, what in the world? He don't mean that.
I'm afraid he does, Jesse.
But why? There ain't a nicer, harmlesser little fellow anywhere than old Jim Cass. Now, what do you suppose could bring a man to hate him so?
I don't know, but I better find out. Chester, you watch things here. I'm going to ride out to Jim's. Huh?
All right, sure, but ain't you going to eat?
Oh, I can do that later. You keep an eye on Ascom, and if he should head that way, you follow and warn me,
All
huh?
right, sure I will.
Well, Matt, how I just came down to eat with you. What's you going out?
I'm just riding out to Jim Cass's, Doc.
You are? Now, that's a long, hot ride to make for nothing.
Well, what do you mean, for nothing?
You won't find anybody there. I saw Jim Cass over at the Long Branch now 15 minutes ago.
Well, hello, Matt.
Hello, Kitty. Have you seen Jim? Oh.
Marshal? Following me?
Well, I might be, Ascom. Kitty, can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, Matt.
Is Jim Cass still around, Kitty?
No.
You know where he went?
Home, I suppose. His wagon was hitched right outside. He got in and drove off about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Well, what's the matter, Matt?
And I just want to see him alive.
Alive? Jim Cass?
Kitty, do me a favor, will you?
Yeah.
When I leave, you see that Ohio River gambler's entertained for a while, will you?
Sure, as long as he's got money.
Okay, thanks, Kitty.
Marshal, have a drink.
No thanks, Ascom.
Marshal, I've never had any trouble with the law. I don't want any now. This has got nothing to do with you.
A deliberate killing is the business of the law anywhere, Ascom.
He'll have his fair chance.
Sure, house odds, huh? I told you Jim Cass is not a fighting man.
So you'll do his fighting for him?
If I have to.
I'm sorry, Marshal.
Sure. But you won't stop it, will you?
No.
You must have a powerful hate.
I have.
I could lock you up, you know.
Mm-hmm. And postpone it for a few days, that's all. And as for running me out of town, I'm leaving anyway, to go out to Cass's. If you want to warn him, you'd better go now.
So you can follow me?
I can find him without your help.
Ask him, I'm going to warn you. You harmed Jim Cass, and I'm going to jail you or kill you.
Fair warning, Marshal. If you can do it.
I can do it. Anybody home?
Hey, Tom! Hush up out there now. Hush up. Stop it. Who is it?
It's me, Jim. Matt Dillon.
Oh, Matt. Good to see you. What brings you out here?
Can I come in?
Well, sure. I'll set the coffee to boil. It won't take a minute. Hey, I'm scorching, ain't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Yes, sir. Gonna be a late winter. Must be something important to bring you way out here on a day like this.
It is, Jim.
Something about me, Matt?
Yeah.
Well, say it.
You know a man named Ascom? Clint Ascom?
Ascom? Nope.
A gambler, slick, young, dark-haired.
Oh, no, not likely.
From Ohio, riverboats.
No. I was back east, Pennsylvania, a couple of years ago. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
I met some people, but I don't remember no gamblers. Not no Ascom.
Jim, is there any reason why a man you've never even seen before would want to kill you?
Kill me?
Yeah, that's right.
This fella, Ascom, he's here gunning for me?
He probably followed me out here. Says he's got good reason. Well, it seemed to me like you ought to know about it if there was a reason like that.
I don't know why any man I ever met would want to kill me.
Okay. That's good enough for me, Jim.
What are you going to do?
Wait for him to come, then take him.
Well, seems like I ought to help.
No, you just sit tight.
At least I'd like to ask him why. Hey, reckon that could be him?
Yeah, maybe. I'll take a look. Now it's Chester.
Hey, Tom, shut up out there now. Stop it. Tom. Here. Oh, howdy, Chester.
Hi there, Jim. Nice dog. Say, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, Chester.
Ask him followed you out like you thought. But as soon as he spotted the place he turned off, I come in to tell you like you said.
Yeah. It's my mistake. Now we've lost him. He's out there somewhere waiting for us to leave.
Well, what'll we do?
Jim, maybe you better ride into town with us, huh?
And let a gunman scare me off my place? Something no Kiowa or Comanche was ever able to do?
All right, Jim. Come on, Chester. We'll head back toward town.
Yes, sir, but ain't we...
And then circle and come back.
Oh, well, he'll likely use that draw back by the barn. That's the way the Kiowa come in.
All right, Jim, but you stay in the house now.
Well, don't worry none about me. I got my old scatter gun.
Don't use it unless you have to, Jim. Come on, Chester.
You see anybody, Mr. Dillon?
No, not yet. Now, wait a minute.
There he is.
Yeah. All right, you stay here. I'm going on up.
All right, sir.
All right, hold it, Askham.
What?
You're covered. Don't make a move.
Where'd you come from?
I'll just take that gun. Chester.
Yes, sir.
My mistake, Marshal. I guess I underestimated you.
I guess you did, Askham. Chester, get the horses and we'll get out of here. Jim, I told you to stay in the house.
Man comes to kill me, I gotta ask him why. Just holster your pistol, Matt. This scattergun will keep him quiet.
Now, wait a minute,
Do
Jim.
like I say, Matt. You too, Chester.
Mr. Dillon?
All right, Chester. Maybe I'd like to hear this, too.
Yeah, but I don't like the look in his face.
All right, now, mister. My name's Jim Cass. You tell me yours.
Askham. Clint Askham.
I'm supposed to know you?
No.
We ever met?
No.
But you got the notion to kill me?
And I'll do it.
Not while you're looking down this gun. Now you're going to tell me why. Talk, mister.
You killed my best friend. Without reason or sense. In cold blood.
Why, that's a lie. I never killed no man.
Jameson Cass of Kansas Territory. On the night of June 12th, 2 years ago, in a barroom on the Cincinnati waterfront. You pleaded self-defense and they let you go. Only it wasn't self-defense. It's taken me 2 long years to track you down.
But that was an Indian.
That was a Delaware Indian. He was my servant and he was my friend. The best friend I ever had. He was as good a man as you are, or any other white man.
Jim, is this true?
Well, Matt, ain't nothing to kill an Indian, you know that.
You had no reason.
Well, he jostled me, bothered me. Had no right being there at all with white men.
Oh, I'll kill you with my bare hands.
Stand back
Ask
now.
him.
You're still taking his part, Marshal. You hate Indians, too.
No, Askham, I hate killing of any kind.
But Indians don't count. Is that it?
If it'd been my friend, I'd probably feel like you do.
Eh? Not this murder.
Ask him, did you ever think maybe Jim's got a reason for the way he feels, too?
A reason? What reason?
Well, out here there are plenty who feel his way. The situation's different. Indians aren't all like your Delaware. You take a look up there behind the house. That little grass plot with the flowers and the 3 headstones. Those are Cass's reasons. His wife and his 2 kids. And Kyle was put him there. Now, I don't hold with what Cass did, but what you're doing's no better.
I don't care what his reason is. I come here to kill him. I'm going to do it.
Ask him.
All right, Mr. Indian lover, you will get your chance. Give him back his gun.
Now, Jim.
Stand back, Matt. This is between him and me. You stay out of it. Give him the gun, Chester.
No, Chester. Jim, can't you see that you're making...
he ain't going to be satisfied short of blood. Well, now I ain't either.
Now, wait a minute,
Stand
Jim.
back, Matt. I'd hate to have to blast you.
Use your head, Jim.
Man comes to kill me. It's him or me.
Mr. Dillon, that's a shotgun.
Stay back, I told you.
Put it down, Jim.
Matt, I won't be stopped.
Mr. Dillon, look out!
Jim?
Matt, I should have known you was faster than me.
I'm sorry, Jim.
Oh, you had to. But I figured I had to, too.
Chester, give me your kerchief.
Here, Marshal. Take mine.
Ask him. Maybe I had this coming. I never thought much about that Indian. Maybe I should have.
Hey, you be quiet, Jim, and lie still.
Marshal, I'm sorry I caused this.
It's a little late to be sorry, isn't it, Askham? Now, why don't you get out of here?
All right, I'm going.
Matt,
Is he dead?
No, he just fainted. Chester, ride into town and get Doc out here as fast as you can.
Will you let me get him, Marshal? Least I can do.
All right, ask him. Go ahead, but hurry.
Mr. Dillon, you think he'll really bring Doc back?
Yeah, Chester, he'll bring him back.
My, you took an awful chance with that cussed shotgun.
Well, it was a gamble, Chester.
Yeah, but one you could have lost.
Well, maybe you better read me a sermon on the evils of gambling.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad. When your child raises his hand in the classroom, does the teacher have time to answer his questions? How many questions go unanswered in your schools because teachers in crowded classrooms just don't have the time to get around to each child? This is only one of the serious situations that's going to be faced again and again this year in schools all over the nation. Every child deserves the best possible educational facilities. Though a good deal has been done since the post-war years, increased enrollments for this term threaten to wipe out all gains. Our schools are packed by the largest enrollment in history. There will be critical shortages in schoolrooms, staff personnel, and transportation unless you do something about it. Join and work with your local civic group and school board now. Through the PTA and other groups, you can take action to improve the schools in your own community and help find more qualified teachers who are so desperately needed. Don't waste time. Your child's education is at stake. Don't leave it up to the next fellow because you're the person who can help improve our schools. This has been a public service message by CBS Radio. And now, William Conrad.
You know, the frontier's so its share of needless killings. But next week, Dodge City watches the most useless of all. Because of a bullet fired 2 months earlier, 3 men die. And that was the West.
Gunsmoke. Produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The script was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Dunkel, with editorial supervision by John Meston. The music was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin and Ralph Moody. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. the story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
You know, Mr. Dillon, it's pretty doggone funny when you stop to think about it.
What is, Chester?
Life is.
No? You, been reading another book?
Well, yes, sir, I have. It's one Doc lent me. It was wrote by some fellow named Shakespeare. Did you ever hear of him, Mr. Dillon?
Shakespeare?
Yes, sir. Pretty well known in his day, I guess. He died, though, quite a while back, according to Doc.
Yeah, so I understand, Chester.
He don't use English too good. He's one of them foreigners, so it makes it kind of hard to follow him, you know. But I'll say one thing, Mr. Dillon, he sure does call the turn on the way people act.
Is that so?
Why, the things that was going on over there in Europe and all them cities in the olden days, it's just the same as what modern folks are doing here in Dodge right now.
You don't say.
Why, they were scheming and plotting and lying to one another just the same as now.
Well, then at least things aren't getting any worse, huh?
Every time a person turned around, somebody was killing somebody, seemed like. Used swords and knives, mostly. It appears they didn't have no guns to speak of back then.
Stay out.
Wait a minute,
Don't come
Chester.
back here again unless you're sober.
Well, that's Buck Weber, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Come on.
Back here. I'll show you if I'll come back here, Noonan.
Hello, Buck.
Marshal?
What seems to be the trouble?
No trouble, Marshal. No trouble at all.
No? If Sam Noonan was to throw me out of the Long Branch, I'd call it trouble.
He didn't have no cause to.
Well, he must have thought he did. Sam's a pretty fair man, ordinarily.
I wasn't doing nothing. I just wanted to see Rancy was all.
Rancy? What's she doing in there?
She's working. What do you think a woman would be doing in there?
Your wife's working on the Long Branch?
3 days ago, she took some of her things and come into town. She said she was leaving the farm. She was leaving me. Wouldn't come back no more.
Oh, Buck, you know how a woman is. She'll say a lot of things when she's mad.
Now, Rancy, she ain't like that. She meant it, Marshal. And I ain't aiming to let her do it.
I'll give her some rope. She'll cool off in a few days, maybe.
No, with that tin horn gambler hanging around her, she won't. I'm going back there and kill that no good.
Wait a minute, Buck. Wait a minute now. Sam told you to stay out, and from the shape you're in, I think maybe he's right.
What do you mean, the shape I'm in?
Well, you had a little too much to drink, I think. Come on, let's take a walk, huh?
I want to walk.
Take his other arm, Chester.
Yes, sir. I want to go back there and talk to Rancy.
Come on, it'll keep.
It'll keep, all right. That slick-talking gambler hanging around, filling her full of lies.
Which gambler? What do you mean?
Well, that Frisco Bates. He's been in there every night since she started. Talking soft to her. Trying to give her doubts about her rightful place in the world.
She must have had a few doubts already, Buck, or she wouldn't have left you.
Carrying on the way she is with that Frisco Bates. Everybody laughing at me. I'm going back there and kill her.
Wait, no, you're not. No, you're not. Now, come on. That's it. That's it.
Whole town talking behind my back.
Well, a funeral wouldn't give them any less to talk about, you know.
You take me to jail, Marshal?
Now, just for tonight, Buck. It's the only way to keep you out of trouble.
Whose side are you on, anyhow? Mine or that no-good gambler's?
Maybe neither one, Buck. There's another side to it.
Whose?
Your wife's.
Good to see you, man.
Hello, Kitty.
Thought you might be going to pass us up this evening.
That's hard to break the habit. Kitty, I understand Rancy Weber's working here now.
That's right, Matt. She started 3 nights ago.
Is she around?
She'll be back in a minute. Right now, she's crying.
Oh?
Yeah, her husband came in drunk and mad a while ago and started abusing her.
Yeah, I know. I just locked him up for the night.
I'm glad you did, Matt. Buck Weber could be real mean if he got started.
I'm afraid he's already started, Kitty. What about this Frisco Bates?
Oh, so that's it. I told Rancy the talk would get around.
Anything to it?
I don't think so. Not really.
Buck's got the idea there is.
Well, he's a touchy one, Matt. He's awful hard to figure.
Yeah, I know.
I hated to see Rancy start here, but she told me she'd left him. She didn't have a cent to her name. I thought she might be better off here than some of the other places. At least I can sort of look after her.
I'm sorry, Kitty. I shouldn't have acted like that. Oh, good evening, Marshal.
How are you, Rancy?
Oh, if you two will excuse me, I better look after a couple of things.
Yeah, sure, Kitty.
I guess you're probably kind of surprised to find me working in a place like this.
No, I'd already heard about it. I saw your husband a little while ago.
Oh.
You, sure you know what you're doing, Rancy?
I'm sure, Marshal.
It's an easy life to get into, but it's rough to get out of.
Those firemen.
And I'm afraid Buck's going to cause you trouble.
He's caused me trouble for 7 years.
Is that so?
7 years of drudgery. Make a woman a slave and work her to death. Never a decent word.
You know, some of the easy ways work out hard, too, Rancy.
Well, I take my chances. But Buck might as well get it through his head right now. I'm not going back, not ever.
I doubt if Buck's going to see it that way.
He has to. What can he do about it?
Well, he could try to harm you, maybe, in some way.
I'll let him. It won't be the first time. There's nothing Buck likes better than hitting a woman. Unless maybe it's a young one.
Well, right now he seems to want to hit a fellow named Frisco Bates.
Mr. Bates he's just been kind to me. That's all.
Uh-huh. You know, men like him are new to you, Rancy. They can cause a lot of trouble sometimes. Just by being kind.
I'm not a bad woman, Marshal. At least I don't think I am. All I ask is just a little kindness and a reason to laugh once in a while. Is that too much?
Not to ask, no. Sometimes a little too much to expect, though.
Are you going to monopolize this young lady all evening, Marshal?
Oh, how are you, Frisco? Rancy, you better go see what it was that Kitty wanted, huh?
Well, Kitty...
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Marshal. You excuse me, Mr. Bates?
Certainly. Is this a policy of the law in Dodge City, Marshal, interfering in people's personal affairs?
Sometimes, yeah. At least when their personal affairs seem to be heading toward a killing.
You mean Rancy's husband, I suppose.
Well, he came around looking for you, didn't he?
The way he's been treating her, I may go looking for him.
Why her, Frisco? There are other women around.
Not like Rancy.
She's out of place here. She's not the kind to be working here. You know it.
Maybe she won't be long. I've asked Rancy to go away with me, Marshal. I've asked her to marry me. Does that surprise you?
A little bit, yeah.
It surprised me, too. But that's the way it is.
Rancy agree to it?
Not yet. But she will. And Buck Weber won't have a thing to say about it.
He won't, huh? I wouldn't count on that if I were you.
Many a child has been warned by his parents that if he digs too deep a hole in the flower bed, he's liable to fall through to China. Well, apparently this little tale had its origin in our American folklore many years ago. And it all started when Captain Wentworth bumped into the great Sam Patch in the middle of the China Seas. The captain said, "Why, Sam, how did you get here? I thought you were drowned near the Canadian border." Sam replied, "I didn't get here at all. I dove right through. In that there Niagara dive, I went so deep, I thought it was just as short to come up the other side. So I came out here in the China Seas. Now you just turn your ship around and I'll race you back to Boston. And if I don't beat you, then my name's not Sam Patch." Folklore belongs to every nation's legendary past, and I guess we Americans have our share of some tall tales.
Morning, Buck.
Marshal?
Did you sleep all right?
Tolerable.
Well, I hope you slept off some of those crazy notions you had last night.
Maybe.
All right, come on out. I got your belongings out here in the office, Buck. There's no charge against you. You're free to leave.
Glad to hear that, anyway.
Morning, Buck.
Stuff's there on the table, Buck.
Thanks. I get my gun back?
Chester?
I'll get it. There you are, Buck.
What are your plans?
Well, I reckon I better ride back out home, take care of the chores. Stock's used to being fed a couple hours earlier than this.
Not what I meant, Buck. What about Rancy?
I ain't rightly made up my mind yet, Marshal.
Leave her alone, will you? Give her a chance to use her own judgment.
Don't seem like she's got much of that. From the folks she's took up with the last few days.
It's her own business. She's a grown woman.
She's a married woman, too. She hadn't ought to be carrying on the way she is.
She hasn't done anything wrong.
I ain't saying she is. I got nothing against Rancy. Any woman's liable to get out of hand once in a while and start thinking fancy. I get her back out there in the farm for a week or two, she'll come to her senses.
Uh-huh.
It's that Frisco that's causing all the trouble, trying to turn her head.
As far as I can see, all he's doing is treating her with a little respect.
It's a matter of opinion, Marshal. Well, if the law's got no more dealings with me, I'll be getting on.
No dealings, Buck. Not right now, anyway.
Good.
That fellow was born under a bad star, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, you may be right, Chester.
He lives mad and he's gonna die mad. You just wait.
That's about all I can do, Chester.
You know, Matt, the best time of day is at night. I always look forward to it.
Oh, why so, Doc?
Because after dark, this flea-bit town doesn't look so goddamn ugly. That's why.
I see.
If a man puts his mind to it, he can even imagine he's someplace else.
Seems to me if a man really wanted to, he could pull up stakes and be someplace else.
I don't know about that. A couple of years out on this blasted prairie leaves a man uncivilized for the rest of his life.
Doc, you were born uncivilized.
Oh, in medical school, I was regarded as a lad of culture and refinement.
Medical school? I always thought you had veterinary training.
I'd have been better off if I had. There's more animals around here than people. And that's not counting the people that are animals. Or just the same as, anyway.
Oh, they're improving a little bit year by year.
Oh, yeah, sure, they're improving. They're all for themselves, and the devil take the hindmost. That's what. Human nature doesn't change, Matt.
Well, that's what Chester thinks, since you started him reading Shakespeare.
It won't do him any harm.
Come on, Doc. It's over back at the Dodge House, I think.
Yeah, you say civilized, huh? Oh, sure, yeah, improving. People shooting each other all the time and bullets flying around.
Come on over this way.
Yes, nobody dying in their beds. Oh, yes, they're civilized. Yeah.
Over here, Mr. Dillon! Somebody fired through the window in the Frisco Bates room. They must have been hiding out here in the dark somewhere.
All right, come on. We can get in through the back door.
Yes, sir.
Will you stand back, please? Stand away from the door, will you? All right, go on in, Doc. Chester.
Good.
It's the first room, Mr. Dillon. Right here at the corner.
Uh-huh.
Quiet, man.
From Mr. Dillon.
Well, good Lord, Matt.
Yeah. All right, take over, will you, Doc? I got some dealings with a man.
I don't hear nobody inside, Mr.
There's
Dillon.
one way to find out. All right, hold it, Buck.
Why, Marshal, I thought I heard somebody knock.
You did. Been doing some shooting, huh?
No, I was just cleaning my gun. Sit down, Marshal. I'll clear this stuff off the table.
Never mind, Buck. Here, let's have a look at that pistol.
What for?
Well, there have been 3 shots fired here.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot there was a coyote bothering around this morning.
There were 3 shots fired in town tonight back at the Dodge House.
It's so.
And a half a dozen people saw you running away from there right afterwards, Buck.
Why, I ain't been out of the house since dark.
Huh? And somebody's been riding one of your horses pretty hard, still lathered.
Don't say.
Way I figured, Buck, you waited outside Frisco's window till you saw the lamp lit and a shadow on the blind, then you fired through the window and ran for your horse. That about the way it was?
Yeah. Just about.
And you're under arrest for murder.
There won't nothing come of it, Marshal. When a man's wife's being bothered, there's an unwritten code.
There's no code about killing from ambush.
Well, you had it coming to him. The jury will see it that way. He was trying to get her to run away with him. Everybody in town knew about it.
They didn't know she'd made up her mind not to do it.
What do you mean?
She told Kitty tonight. And she went over to tell Frisco, but he wasn't in. The clerk of the Dodge House gave her the key to Frisco's room so she could go back and wait for him.
What are you saying, Marshal?
It was Rancy who lit that lamp tonight. It was her shadow on the blind.
Well, then I...
That's right, Buck. She's dead. And juries don't have much sympathy for men who kill women. You're gonna hang, Buck. Just as sure as shooting.
How well do you know the history of your Marine Corps? For example, did you know that the Marines were the first American troops to be decorated with the Fourragère, one of France's highest decorations of honor? In June 1918, the German army was in possession of Belleau Wood, a highly strategic point on the way to Paris, and unless the wood was secured by the Allies, Paris would soon fall. 2 regiments of the American 2nd Division, the 5th and 6th Marines, were deployed to the south of Belleau Wood and ordered to drive the German troops back. Although greatly outnumbered, the Marines attacked again and again, and within 3 weeks, Belleau Wood was secured for the Allies. After Belleau Wood, the Marines continued their valiant fight. And to them, the grateful French government awarded the Croix de Guerre with 2 palms and a gold star, and the first American troops to be so honored, the Fourragère. Thus, another page was added to the history of your United States Marine Corps.
Gunsmoke. Produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. George Walsh speaking. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service. Gunsmoke, brought to you by L&M Filters. This is it. L&M is best, stands out from all the rest. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely. What was that for, Chester?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to make a noise, I guess. It's so blame quiet out here on the prairie.
You've been mighty quiet yourself.
I guess I run plumb out of conversation back a couple hours ago. It ain't I'm unsociable, Mr.
Yeah,
Dillon.
I know, Chester. It's been a long ride. Yeah, but we'll be in Dodge by dark.
Yes, sir. Just in time to go to bed.
You didn't have anything better to do, did you?
I guess not. Game of checkers with Doc, maybe. Oh, that man plays the doggonedest, craziest game of checkers.
Hey, Chester. Over there.
What? Well, that smoke, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
Must be a grass fire, huh?
Oh, was smoke that black?
Well, what is it then?
Isn't there a ranch over in that direction?
Well, now, yes, sir, there is. Not far, neither. Fellow's named Claiborne, as I remember. Come here from Indiana about 4 years ago, him and his wife did. Awful nice fella.
Come on, Chester.
Planted corn the first year, but it didn't turn out very well.
Come on, Chester, we better take a look.
Mr. Dillon, the house, barn, everything.
Yeah, there's not much left, is there?
What do you suppose could have happened?
Yeah, there's one thing for sure. It wasn't an accident.
Hmm?
Look at the tracks. Horses. They're all milling around.
There's sure a lot of them. What I don't understand is where is Mr. Claiborne? Here's his house not hardly burnt to the ground yet.
Take a look over there, Chester.
Mr. Dillon.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he should have stayed in Indiana.
And his wife, too. And I didn't even know they had a little one, Mr. Dillon. Looks like they was trying for cover in that little creek bed there.
Well, we can only do one thing for him now. Maybe there's a shovel left back there.
Mr. Dillon, who could have did a thing like that?
That's plain enough, isn't it?
Yes, but I didn't hear no Indian trouble right now.
I didn't either.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
If them Indians were just here not very long ago, they couldn't have gone far.
That's right, Chester, they couldn't. All right, come on, let's look for that shovel.
Oh, Mr. Claiborne. Look out there, Mr. Dillon.
What?
Planted corn again, and it's doing real well, too.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute, Chester. Listen.
Horses. A lot of them.
Yeah.
You think it could be them Indians coming back?
Well, it could be. Get the rifles and we'll try a run for the creek bed.
No, too late, Mr. Dillon. They're coming over the rise. Well, Mr. Dillon, it ain't Indians. It's the Bluecoats.
Yeah.
A patrol, a whole company of them. Oh, my, ain't they a welcome sight?
Yeah, come on, let's go meet them.
What are you doing out here, Marshal?
We were riding in from Pawnee, and we saw the smoke, Lieutenant. We were a little too late.
So I see. Where are they?
Over there. All three of them.
We're pretty close on their trail now. Maybe we can get them before they find another ranch.
Well, from the prints, I figured them for Kiowa. But I didn't know there was any trouble.
Well, there isn't. With the tribe, these are just renegades. Not more than 8 or 10 of them. Got all fired up and jumped the agency.
Fired up with cheap whiskey.
Well, maybe. But we can't be more than about half an hour behind them now. With luck, we'll get them before nightfall.
I sure hope so.
Marshal, we'll take over here for you. The horses need a few minutes' rest. Then we'll go on.
All right, Lieutenant. We'll head on into Dodge. Then.
Keep your eyes open, Marshal, on the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we will.
Mr. Dillon, it's a cussed crying shame. Them Indians can be as peaceful as anything, and then some ornery white man comes along and sells them some of that red eye, and they just go hog crazy.
Chester, an Indian's no different from anybody else with too much to drink. Now, the problem's deeper than that.
What do you mean?
Well, the Indians have lost a lot. They're a conquered people. That doesn't sit well with any man, Chester. And there are times when it makes him mad.
Yes, sir, that's so. I guess maybe you can't blame them entirely.
Not entirely.
Sir. Well, say now, that's a pretty little valley. Hey, look, there's somebody down there.
Yeah, looks like settlers.
They do indeed, with that Conestoga wagon. They built them a sod hut, too. Well, looks like we got neighbors we didn't know we had, Mr. Dillon.
Or maybe we're losing them before we get to know them. They seem to be packing the wagon.
Maybe they heard about the Indians.
Yeah, that's likely. Well, come on, we'll ride down and say hello. Afternoon.
Howdy.
I'm Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal out of Dodge. This is Chester Proudfoot.
I'm Sam Fraser. This is my ma.
Sam.
This is my wife, Alice.
Hello.
How do you do?
This is Tad, my kid brother.
Pleased to meet you.
Hello.
We're headed for Dodge ourselves.
Looks like you got settled here.
Well, we ain't staying, Marshal. We're going on west.
Chasing rainbows, Marshal. Farm folks like us.
Now, Ma.
Don't you now, Ma, me, Sam Fraser. If your pa was still alive,
Well, he
wouldn't
ain't.
believe...
And it's up to me to do the deciding now. If you'll excuse me, Marshal, I'll get back to loading up.
Chester and I can give you a hand.
No thanks. Tad and me'll manage.
That's a real nice odd hut, Miss Fraser. It's kind of too bad to go off and leave it.
My husband built it, not him.
Now, Ma, Sam, help.
Marshal, what do you think of a son that goes against his father's wishes and him not hardly cold in his grave?
Ma, please.
3 days now, Marshal. He's buried right over there under that cottonwood.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
We hadn't been here more than a week. Come all the way from Ohio, looking for a spot of good ground to till, looking for a home, Marshal. And he found it here.
It sure is a pretty little place.
Samuel called it Pleasant Valley. Said he'd be grateful to settle here and spend his days. Only the Lord didn't leave him any days. Denied him, like Moses, come to the promised land.
It would make a nice homestead for you folks.
It would. But some folks has ideas.
Oh, Ma, lay off.
Mr. Fraser.
What?
Look, I know this is none of my business, but is there some reason why you want to give up this land and go on?
Reason enough.
It's because of me, Marshal.
Now, Alice, you ain't to blame.
Yes, I am. It's because Sam is worried about me, Marshal. No Indians would scare him off if it was just these folks, but it's me he's scared for. Me and the one coming.
And what better reason? You think I want my wife and my child living in danger of murdering savages?
Mr. Fraser, there's just a bunch of renegades. The cavalry will get 'em soon, and the danger will be over.
Who's to say what they'll do before the cavalry gets them? Oh, Marshal, my family's going to grow up in a safe place.
My ma born me in the middle of the Ohio woods, thick with Indians as fleas on a hound. We was made of sterner stuff in them days.
Maybe, but my wife ain't going to live like that. Now, come on, Tad, hand that up. We're losing time.
You going on west?
Aye, to California, he says. Might even look for gold instead of farming, he says.
Oh, my, I reckon most of that gold out there is already clean. 20 years or more. Of course, you might have luck.
We can always find a piece of land.
Yeah, maybe you can, but nothing better than this.
Nothing half as good. This dirt's richer than molasses in the cook pot. If it was me,
Well, it ain't. Now, hoist.
If I was just a few years
I said
old...
hoist.
You see how it is, Marshal.
Yes'm. Maybe he's right. California might work out fine. Only it's a long way, and with Miss Fraser expecting, it's going to be kind of a hard trip.
I know all that, Marshal. We'll stay in Dodge till the baby's born. It won't be long now, and then we'll go on.
I just want to say one thing, Mr. Fraser. As a lawman in this territory, we have some troubles now and then, sure, but it's not as bad as you think. And in a few years, it'll be as safe here as it is in, Ohio right now, or California. And it's going to be a prosperous country.
My mind's made up, Marshal.
Well, all right. We better help you get loaded then. See you safe into Dodge. The worst place to be right now is out on the open prairie.
All right. That's it. Now, one more shove. Good. That should ride easy.
Well, that's the last.
Oh. All right, then. We're all ready. Might as well get started. It's getting late. You got them all hitched, Tad?
They're ready.
Where's Ma?
She's over by the cottonwood.
Oh. Crying, I suppose, to shame me.
Sam.
Well, tears don't do no good.
She ain't crying. She's just standing, staring. I tried to get her to come away, but she wouldn't.
Marshal, maybe if you was to talk to her. You know, a stranger.
All right. Well, sure, ma'am. Miss Fraser.
He's there, Marshal. Right there. We fixed up a cross.
Yes'm.
Maybe if you was to pass by this way again, you just take a look. See the marker still standing?
Well, sure it will, ma'am.
25 years, Marshal. And all I ever asked was to lie there beside him. It's a lonely place.
Mm-hmm. But it's no lonelier than any other, Miss Fraser. Why, in the springtime, this whole meadow's covered with a blanket of sunflowers. Prettiest you ever saw.
Thank you, Marshal. I can go now.
Ma, I'm sorry.
No need, boy. We all do what we have to do. You're no different. Just help me up.
Oh, here, Ma.
All right. Now let's get this girl into town. Her time's almost come.
Okay, Ma.
Hey!
All right, come on, Chester.
Yes, sir.
I want you to ride the point. Keep a good watch ahead and to the north, huh?
All right, sir.
I'll cut up to the top of that hill and take a look, and then I'll ride south flank, cover that side and behind.
Mr. Dillon, it sure does seem a shame.
Wait a minute, Chester.
Oh, my gracious, coming over the hill.
Yeah.
Them ain't blue coats.
No, they're not, Chester. Razor, turn around. Go back. What? Look up there. Indians. Get back to the hut. Fast. Use your rifle, Chester.
It's too far to hit them.
It'll let them know they got to fight.
Yes, sir. Now they've turned off.
I thought they would. All right, let's get back to the Frasers. Come on. All right, hurry it up. Let's get those women into the hut.
We're trying, Marshal, but Alice got shook up some with us going so fast.
Well, we'll carry her. Come on.
Be all right, Marshal.
Sure you will, ma'am. Hang on now. There we go.
Over here. Right here, Marshal. Put her down gently.
Yes, ma'am.
Alice.
Oh, Sam, don't you worry. I'll be all right. You go on. Do what needs to be done. I'll be all right.
But Alice...
Go on, boy.
Come on, Sam. You got a rifle, Sam?
Yeah, Sharp's in the wagon.
Well, that'll give us 3.
I ain't got one, Marshal, but I can load for you.
All right, son. There'll be plenty to do.
They're still up there, Mr. Dillon. Having a powwow, looks like.
You figure they'll rush us, Marshal?
No. They know we got rifles. There are only 8 or 9 of them, and the ground's too open. They'll either go on and leave us alone, or they'll wait till the sun goes down and come in the dusk.
There's nothing to do but wait.
Well, we can use the time to unload part of the wagon. Just the things they'll need in there, though. And we'll drive it off and cut the horses loose. We don't want them milling around in case of a fight.
Sam!
What, Ma?
Get water from the creek. Make a fire, quick.
Ma?
Don't stand there. You heard me. Get moving.
Yes'm.
Relax, Fraser. She's gonna be all right.
Sure, out here in nowhere with them up there. This is just what I was afraid of.
Well, plenty have been born this way. You might have been yourself, you know.
I know, but... Tad, where you going?
Down to the creek. Ma wants more water.
You better go with him, Chester.
Yes, sir.
I should have gone 2 days ago. I wanted her to have the best, nothing but the best.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I talked about hunting gold in California.
You know something, Sam? A man can waste a lifetime looking for gold when it's right in front of his eyes.
Where?
You're looking at it. There's wealth here for a man, too.
I know it, Marshal. Tad!
Yeah, come on.
Tad!
He's all right, Mr. Dillon. Yes, sir, Nick. One of them snuck up close, but I chased him off.
Tad.
I'm all right, Sam. Just crease my arm.
Well, it's bleeding.
We'll fix it when we get him back to the hut. There we go. Is it tight enough, son?
Oh, sure, Marshal. It's okay. How's Alice?
I don't know. Ma chased me away. I'm worried, Marshal.
And I'm more worried about those Indians. It's going to be dark soon.
Mr. Dillon, that patrol ought to be around here somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping they'd show up.
Well, they can't be far. They was on the trail. Maybe if I was to ride out...
Now, there's a better way, Chester. Signal them.
How?
The sign they've been looking for and hoping not to see. Smoke.
You mean set the grass afire?
No, that'd smoke us out, too. No, the wagon.
Oh, but Marshal...
Yeah, I know, Fraser. It's like burning your bridges behind you, but it's the only thing we got.
All right. All right, we'll burn it.
It's almost out, but it sure sent up a lot of smoke while it lasted. You reckon the cavalry saw it, Mr. Dillon?
It's hard to say, Chester.
Well, if they did, I hope they're hurrying. Sun's most gone, all but the tops of the hills. This valley's getting mighty shadowy.
We better sit in a circle. Each one watch his side.
Marshal, out there, was that?
What? No, just one of the horses, son, but you keep looking.
Marshal, listen. Look, up there, it's the Bluecoats. They're here.
Oh, ain't that a welcome sight? They're charging the Indians, running them off.
Marshal, we're going to be all right.
Yeah, Fraser. They'll get them now. Maybe if we...
Sam, get in here.
Alice.
Well, what are you staring at? Body'd think you'd never seen a strapping, healthy baby boy before.
Alice?
I'm all right, darling. We're both all right. I told you didn't need to worry about us.
All right, now, you men folk, get on out of here. Go on, skedaddle.
Yes, ma'am.
You too, Sam Fraser.
Well, I declare.
Well, Sam, Chester and I'll be getting on into Dodge. We'll send a wagon out for you.
What? I reckon we won't be needing the wagon, Marshal.
Sam, you mean we're staying?
Well, we buried one here. And we born one here. And we shed Fraser blood in this dirt. And it is good dirt, Marshal. And it is a pleasant place.
Yes, it is.
You'll be welcome here any time. Both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Fraser. Welcome to Kansas.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The special music for Gunsmoke was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Bill James and Ray Kemper. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Helen Cleve, Eleanor Tannen, Sam Edwards, and John Daner. Parley Bear is Chester.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
You know that man, Shelby? No. Looks like some kind of tenderfoot to me.
Who else is camping in a grove of trees, got no water? You have a little talk with him.
He looks scared, Kringle.
Seen men look scared before. Hello, mister.
Hello?
Camped here all alone?
Yeah. Scouting around for some homestead land.
Good-looking horse you got over there.
He seems to be a good horse. He's awful young.
I think I'll take a look at him.
Sure. What you men doing out here?
Oh, we just ride around. We scout for things, too.
Land?
We ain't the kind of settle down to hard work like that.
I had a little orchard back in Ohio. Raised apples.
Yeah. Yeah, apples are fine. Wished I had one now.
Hey, Kringle.
Yeah?
That there horse ain't got no brand on him.
No brand?
It washed off crossing the river.
You talking about washed off?
It did. I ain't lying.
Well, it don't matter none. Go get your rope, Shelby.
I'll get it.
What's he need a rope for?
Well, now, don't you worry about that, mister. We'll take care of everything.
What are you going to do?
I told you not to worry.
Now, look, I ain't done nothing.
Of course you ain't. We're just going to save you from all that hard work you was planning on.
No. All right, I got it, Shelby. Hurry up. Let me
Stand
still. Let me go, will you?
Maybe there's water in this grove, Mr. Dillon.
Well, if there is, somebody's dug a well, Chester.
Oh, you been here before?
I've passed by.
I swear I'm going to start toting me a water bag.
That's the easy way, Chester.
I bet it is.
Yeah, somebody's had a campfire here recently.
Yesterday sometime, I'd say.
Yeah. That big rain last night washed out all the prints.
It sure did. Doggone it, there's got to be a spring here somewhere. I'm going to take a look.
You're wasting your time, Chester.
I don't mind.
I never saw a man who needed the comforts of home more than he does.
Mr. Dillon! Mr. Dillon, come here, quick!
Huh?
Look.
Yeah. Lynched.
Scared me half to death. I seen him hanging there.
It isn't a very pretty sight.
There ain't no horse around. Where's his horse?
Yeah, he probably stole it. And then they caught up with him and took it back.
Who do you suppose done it?
I don't know. I don't know how we're ever going to find out. Well, come on. Let's cut him down. And get him into the ground.
Matt, I don't know what I'd do if I rode into a grove of trees and found a man hanging there.
Well, I hope it never happens, Kitty.
How can men do such things?
That's easy. For some men.
I hope you catch him.
I'd like to, Kitty.
Who was he, Matt?
Well, we found an envelope on him. His name was Hank Blennis.
Must have been a newcomer. I never heard of him.
Well, he wasn't wanted by the law that I know of. But I guess he was a horse thief, all right.
They wouldn't have lynched him otherwise, would they?
No?
Then why don't you find out who's had a horse stolen recently?
Well, they wouldn't likely be talking about it now, Kitty.
Well, things could be worse, Matt.
Oh, what do you mean?
Suppose there wasn't any law at all. Then people wouldn't even have to hide what they do. Now at least they know they're doing wrong.
Well, that doesn't seem to stop them much.
Marshal Dillon?
Yeah.
My name's Charlie Drain, Marshal. I run cattle up north on the Republican River. Happened to be in Dodge on business, and I heard about that lynching yesterday.
You know something about it, Drain?
I know I don't like it. My own pa was lynched, Marshal. A mob strung him up by mistake. I was just a boy, but I seen him do it, and it's laid in my mind ever since.
Yeah, I can understand that. But what about this lynching?
It's a big thing with me, Marshal. I can't endure seeing no lynchers get off free.
Well, I don't like it myself, Drain.
Then you do something about it, or I will.
Now, Matt.
Maybe you better tell me what you got in mind, Drain.
A fella named Gil Mather. Got a little ranch over on Dove Creek. I've heard round and about that he's had a horse or two stole recently, and I've heard that he's talked to hanging whoever stole him. Now, it looks to me like he went and done it, Marshal.
I know Gil Mather.
Well, then maybe you better go bring him in.
Or you will, huh?
I'll see him dead. I told you how I feel about things. I ain't fooling, Marshal.
Drain, I got some advice for you.
Is that so?
Why don't you take a walk around Dodge and talk to some people, huh? You ask them what I'm like when somebody tries to crowd me. Then you go sit down somewhere and think about it. You think about it real hard.
I didn't know Gil Mather was married, Mr. Dillon.
He isn't, Chester.
Well, then who's that boy in the corral yonder feeding his horses?
That's Billy Driscoll. He works for Mather off and on.
Oh. You think Mather will fight?
I'm not arresting him, Chester. I got no evidence says he did it.
Well, what if he admits it?
And it's not often a man admits to a crime, Chester.
Guess not.
Hello there, Marshal. Chester.
Oh?
How are you, Mather?
Oh, fair to middling, Marshal. What brings you out here?
I was told that you've lost some horses.
I didn't lose them, Marshal. They was stole. 3 of them now.
Any idea who's been doing it?
If I knew, there'd be a man hanging from a limb somewheres.
There was one, Mather.
Right?
About 20 miles north of here, a man called Hank Blunnis.
Was he a horse thief?
Probably.
Who hung him?
Some people think maybe you did.
No. No, it wasn't me. But horse thieves has got to be hung, Marshal.
Mather Blunnis was lynched Thursday. Where were you then?
You questioning my word, Marshal?
Where were you?
Marshal, you got any evidence, you come arrest me. Meantime, I got work to do.
Contrary, ain't he, Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
It sure looks to me like he's hiding something.
Well, I can't arrest him for that. Come on, let's get back to town. Doc? Hey, Doc. Doc, you asleep?
Huh? Who said that? Oh, well, oh. Oh, it's you, man.
You sure don't do much to dress this town up, Doc.
Oh, what man's got a better right to sit out here and rest his eyes for a few minutes?
No?
I was up the entire night nursing old Mrs. Jackstone through a fever.
Well, maybe we ought to tie a sign on you explaining that, Doc. Folks might not understand otherwise.
Oh, folks can go hang. I'm here if anybody needs me.
Well, a man would have to be mighty sick to need a doctor who looks like he's sleeping off a drunk.
Don't harp at me, Mad Dillon. From what I hear, you're not exactly distinguishing yourself at your own trade.
Well, you got me there, Doc.
Yeah, you bet your life. And since you admit it, then I won't say any more to you.
Well, good.
Even though it does kind of look bad when people can go around stringing up anybody they please, and with no interference from the law.
Yeah, well, thanks for not saying any more about it, Doc.
Oh, I'm not one to twist the knife. Now, you know that.
Oh, sure.
Marshal Dillon, I want to talk to you.
What's the trouble now, Drain?
I'm tired waiting, Marshal. Something's got to be done.
Drain, why don't you go back up to your ranch and leave all this to me, huh?
'Cause you ain't doing nothing, that's why. You see them 2 men over there, Marshal?
What?
Them 2 standing over there.
Who are they?
One is Kringle and one is Jack Shelby. And they feel as strong as I do about all this.
All right, Drain. You don't have to go back to your ranch. I don't care where you go, but you get out of Dodge and you take your friends there with you. If I see any one of you around after sundown, I'll throw you in jail.
I take it back, joking you, Matt. You are kind of up against it.
You know, Doc, I just thought of something.
Huh? What?
That fellow Blunnis was obviously a dude. He wasn't even wearing the right kind of clothes for a man who'd been out here very long. Maybe he wasn't a horse thief at all.
Then why would anybody lynch him?
Well, I'm going over to the stable, Doc. Maybe Moss Grimmick can help me.
That's the fellow, Marshal. That's him. That's what he looked like.
What kind of a horse was it, Moss?
A little 3-year-old bay. Real young, but plumb gentle. Had 4 white stockings, Marshal.
Well, that gives me something to go on.
There's another thing, too. That horse wasn't branded.
What?
Well, I raised him myself, and I just never got around to putting no mark on him. Except for the no good stuff I bought.
What stuff?
Oh, fella sold it to me, some kind of chemical powder. You wet it and then kind of paint your brain down with it and supposed to take the hair off. But it don't work. I tried it on another animal. It just washed right off.
Ah. And whoever's got that little bay of yours could put his own brand on him, huh?
I'm a real fool, Marshal, believing you can brand a horse rubbing a little chemical powder on him.
Well, we all get taken sometimes, Moss.
I stopped Gil Mather from getting took, though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. He come in here the other day, asked me about it. I told him.
What day was that, Moss?
Thursday. Him and the boy, Billy Driscoll, they come to town every Thursday, Marshal. Come in early, spend the whole day. Why? Something wrong?
Hank Blennis was lynched Thursday.
Well, you wasn't thinking Gil Mather done it, was you?
Charlie Drain was, and he still is. I better go find him, Moss.
I don't see nobody around at all, Mr. Dillon.
Maybe they're in the house, Chester.
Want for me to go see?
We'll tie up here by the barn first.
All right, sir. Could be Mather and the boys eating their dinner, Mr. Dillon.
At least you hope so, huh?
Well, any man gets a little hungry now and then.
Wait a minute, Chester.
Why, there's Charlie Drain.
Yeah.
They was in the barn. Them other two fellows, they must be Kringle and Shelby you told me about.
Yeah, that's them.
What are you doing out here, Marshal?
I'm looking for Gil Mather, Drain.
He ain't around.
Chester.
Yes, sir.
See if he's in the barn.
I said he ain't around, didn't I?
Go ahead, Chester.
Yes, sir.
And don't any one of you try to stop him. Now, which one of you is Kringle and which is Shelby?
I'm Kringle, he's Shelby. Why?
Well, it's my job to know who people are, that's all.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, now I know.
If you ask me, it's your job to punish criminals, Marshal.
You're right, Drain.
Well, you ain't been doing very good at it.
I'm kind of slow sometimes.
You're too slow.
Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon. They're in there. Gil Mather and the boy, both of them.
Don't stand in front of me, Chester.
They're dead. These fellows went and hung them, both of them.
Keep your hand away from that gun, Kringle.
But you can't blame me. Me nor Shelby. It was Drain's idea. He paid us to come along with him, is all.
Billy was just a kid. Why'd they have to hang him for?
So he was a kid. He was keeping mighty bad company, now wasn't he?
Drain, both the boy and Gil Mather were in Dodge the day Hank Blennis was lynched.
Are you sure of that?
There are witnesses.
I don't want no more part of this. Come on, Shelby.
Hold it, Kringle.
Well, you ain't stopping me, Marshal.
Is that your bay horse over there? With the 4 white stockings?
What about it?
It's pretty smart of you to lynch a man rather than shoot him when you go to steal his horse.
What are you saying, Marshal?
They hung Blennis, Drain. I guess they figured helping you with Mather and the boy would put everybody off their track.
So they lynched him. They done it. Why, you dirty dogs!
Why, he killed them. He killed both of them.
Sure, I killed them. They had it coming now, didn't they?
Give me that gun, Drain. I said give it.
Lynchers. All the time there was nothing but a couple of dirty lynchers.
He's crazy, Mr. Dillon.
I hate them.
What do you think you just did in the barn there, Drain?
I made a mistake. I can't help that. I only wish I could have hung these two. They deserved it. Just like them fellas that lynched my pa.
I ain't never seen a man so mixed up.
I hate lynching.
Sometimes a man can hate too much, Drain. Sometimes I can twist him till he gets where he doesn't really belong.
I don't know what you mean.
Hell, it doesn't matter now. Not anymore. You know, on the frontier, bullets cost 8 cents apiece, so they were seldom wasted. But next week, it's a stray bullet that kills a man. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Harry Bartell, Lawrence Dobkin, John Daynard, Jack Moyles, and James Nusser. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Marshal Dillon.
Hello, Bowers. How's the cattle business?
I shipped 1,000 head out into Santa Fe this morning. Guess I can afford to buy you a drink?
Well, thanks, Bowers, but I hear Doc Adams has been looking all over for me. I better go find him.
I was in here a while ago talking to Kitty.
No?
Oh, here she comes. Maybe she knows where he went.
Matt?
Oh, Kitty.
Hello, Mr. Bowers.
Hello, Kitty.
Doc had to leave, Matt. They called him out to the Smith place on an emergency. But he asked me to give you a message.
Oh?
You know Ed Thorpe and his wife?
Well, sure, I know.
Yeah, they got a little piece of land right on the south edge of my ranch. They're not doing very good, though.
Well, they sure aren't, according to Doc. He was out there last night, and he'd planned to go back for him today.
To go back for him?
They have to be brought into town, Matt. They've got spotted fever, both of them.
Hey, they got a little baby out there, too.
Well, that's why Doc says somebody's got to fetch all three of them into Dodge where they can be taken care of.
Well, I'll find a wagon and go after him tomorrow. We couldn't get him back tonight anyway.
You want some help, Marshal? I got a pack of cowboys that ain't earning their feed.
Well, thanks, Bars, but Chester and I can manage.
You might need some help.
Oh, what do you mean?
Ed Thorpe. Sick as he may be, he'll get a gun and fight before he lets you carry him off that place. I know him.
Then he can stay there, but I'm going to bring his wife and child in.
All right. But you keep an eye on him. He can be a bad one.
This ain't Ed Thorpe's place, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I know, Chester, but I want to meet these people. They must be new. Come on.
How do you know they're new? You ain't been out this way in over a year.
Well, all the more reason to meet them. Now, let's walk around back. I thought I saw somebody there.
Nothing but a sod hut and blow dirt. You must be living on nothing.
Well, it doesn't look like it, Chester.
Huh? Why, he's butchering a calf. Now, where'd he get that?
Well, he sure didn't raise it on those weeds his woman's trying to hoe. Hello.
What are you men doing here?
I'm Marshal Dillon from Dodge. This is Chester Proudfoot.
How you do?
Something wrong, Marshal?
No. Except your hat's gonna get all bloody where you laid it on this calf.
Leave it be.
Here. You get sunstroke without a hat.
All right. So I was trying to cover up Emmett Bauer's brand. We're starving out here, Marshal. I had to kill that calf.
You ain't going to arrest my husband, are you, Marshal?
No, ma'am. Not unless Emmett Bowers complains.
Well, Joe had to do it, Marshal. We just can't go on without something to eat. Look where I've been hoeing over there. I couldn't plant enough for hardly anything to come up. We can't afford no more seed. Our credits run out in Dodge.
Well, that ground doesn't even look like it's been plowed.
I done the best I could. It ain't easy.
No, ma'am. Not for a woman. We're on our way over to Ed Thorpe's. I guess you know that they got spotted fever.
I was there this morning. Ed Thorpe's dead. Died in the night, I guess.
She didn't tell me that, Joe.
You mean you left Miss Thorpe and the baby alone over there?
I ain't gonna chance catching no fever.
But, Joe, the baby.
My woman's always worrying about babies. It's only 'cause she can't have none, I guess. She's like one of them there dry gourds.
Don't, Joe. You're putting shame on me.
Chester.
Yes, sir?
Let's get out of here. Oh, Miss Nader,
Yes, Marshal?
next time you're in Dodge, come see me, huh? I'll get you some seed to plant.
Goodness, Mr. Dillon, I thought we wouldn't never make Dodge tonight.
How's the baby, Chester?
Well, it's asleep anyway. Guess I've been holding it right, huh?
Just like a mother.
Oh, I am not.
Oh, there's Doc waiting for us. Oh, there. You just sit tight a minute, Chester. We'll help you with the baby.
I hope it don't wake up or anything.
Matt, where are Ed Thorpe and his wife?
Well, Ed died before we got there, Doc. Miss Thorpe's lying down in the wagon back there. We covered her up good. She's been asleep most of the way.
Oh, yeah. Mrs. Thorpe? She's still asleep. Give me a hand up, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Mrs. Thorpe? Oh. Oh, my.
What's the matter, Doc?
She's not asleep, Matt. She's dead.
No.
Died on the way in, I guess. Now we got a baby to take care of.
You know, Doc, I think she knew she was going to die.
Why?
Just before we left her place, she told me that if anything happened to her, the baby was to be put in Ma Smalley's care. And Ma Smalley was to have complete charge over him. Well, what she says goes.
Well, Ma's a widow. She's had kids herself. That was a good choice.
Yeah.
But she's too old to raise them herself, man.
Well, we'll worry about that later, Doc. Let's get busy. Hello, Ma.
Howdy.
How have you been, Miss Nadler?
Pretty good, Marshal.
Marshal, Mrs. Nadler wants to adopt the Thorpe baby.
Oh? Well, Miss Thorpe left the baby in your charge, Ma. It's all up to you.
Well, I've had him over a week, Marshal, and I'm going to keep him a while longer so he'll be near Doc just in case, but Mrs. Nadler here seems like a mighty fine woman to me. And I'd let her take that baby, only I'm worried about one thing.
I told her, Marshal, and the truth, and she's afraid maybe Joe and I can't make a go of it out there. You remember what you said when you was leaving that day?
I said to come see me. I'd help you get some seed to plant.
Well, now, that's all I need. I get a little corn up there. I might even raise a few hogs. I work awful hard, Marshal. I promise I will.
She gets started. She can have the baby, Marshal.
Miss Nadler, why don't you come by my office before you leave town? I'm going to the store here and have a talk with Mr. Jonas now.
Oh, Marshal, I do thank you.
Come on back to the house, Mrs. Nadler.
All right.
You can look at him.
Oh, hello, Marshal.
Hello, Jonas.
Well, what can I sell you today?
I came by to see you about Miss Nadler. You know her, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do. Joe Nadler's out back in the stock room right now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. Hey, Nadler, come in here a minute. He's buying himself a new pair of boots, Marshal.
I thought their credit had run out.
Oh, well, Nadler's doing better now. He started bringing meat into Delmonico's and a couple other eating places and paid up part of his bill already, ain't you, Nadler?
I don't know as I like you talking about my private affairs, Jonas.
Oh, no harm. It's only Marshal Dillon.
Come on, Nadler. Those are good-looking boots.
They ought to be. Them's the best I stock. Them's $20 boots.
$20. I'd buy a whole wagon load of seed, Nadler.
You telling me how to spend my money?
Does your wife know you've been doing better lately?
Family matters ain't no concern of the law.
Yours are. And if it wasn't for your wife, I wouldn't bother just warning you. But because of her, I'm telling you to take off those boots and buy some seed and whatever else you need to grow corn with.
Now, you look here,
Shut
Marshal.
up! Now, I'm giving you a chance, Nadler. In 3 days from now, I'm riding out to see what you've done with it. It's up to you whether or not you'll be riding back with me.
Today's Thursday, Mr. Dillon. Ain't we riding out the Nadlers?
Well, we can wait another day, Chester.
You know what? I don't think you want to go at all.
Yeah, you're right, I don't.
Hello, Marshal.
Bars?
Chester?
Oh, Mr. Byers.
I was just up at Delmonico's, Marshal, having myself a feed.
Oh, good. How was it?
It was fine, till I went out back and got a talking with the cook.
Oh?
Marshal, I reckon any man's got a right to complain when he goes to a restaurant and finds himself eating his own beef.
I know about that, Bars.
You do? And why ain't you done nothing about it?
Oh, because of Miss Nadler, I guess.
Look, Marshal, I'm a rich man. I don't mind a nester slaughtering one of my calves when he's starving. And nobody's going to start selling my beef. I'll kill him. He keeps that up.
All right, I'll handle it, Bars.
I admire that woman, too, Marshal, but letting him get by with rustling ain't going to help her. By the way, Ma Smalley brought some pies down to the kitchen while I was there. She's waiting outside here. She wants to talk to you. Get you right out, man.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Hello, Ma.
You riding out to Nadler's, Marshal?
I am.
Then you tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I think she's a good woman, but I can't let that baby go into the home of a cow thief.
No. That'll break her heart, Ma.
Son, I got a trust put in me.
All right, I'll tell her. Hello, Miss Nadler.
Oh, Marshal. Hello, Chester.
Hi, ma'am.
What brings you out here, Marshal?
Is your husband home?
No, he's been gone since morning.
Oh. Miss Nadler, do you know that he's been slaughtering Emmett Bauer's beef?
Oh. Mr. Bowers complained about it. About that calf?
Oh, it's more than that one calf, Miss Nadler. He's been selling meat around Dodge lately.
So that's what he had in the wagon.
Now, I know you had nothing to do with it, Miss Nadler, but I hate to tell you this, but Ma Smalley isn't going to let you have the baby.
Oh. Well, she's right, Marshal. It wouldn't be fitting.
Mr. Dillon, look.
Huh?
Over yonder.
That's Emmett Bowers. I'll be back, Miss Nadler. I'm going to go talk to him.
Them other two must be riders of his, huh?
Yeah.
Thought I might find you here, Marshal.
There's something wrong, Bowers?
One of my men's been murdered. We found him out yonder about 5 miles. He'd been left for dead, but he talked a little.
Well, what happened?
He's gone now, Marshal, so you'll have to take our word for what he told us.
All right.
You run across Joe Nadler, slaughtering another steer.
Nadler shot him?
That's right.
Anything else?
Only that Nadler got on his horse and headed for Dodge. I guess he figures he'll get caught, and he might as well get drunk one more time.
He'll get caught. I promise you that, Bowers.
Finally found him, Mr. Dillon. He's in there getting drunk at the bar.
Well, it's taken us long enough. Everybody in town must know I'm after him by now.
There, see him?
Yeah, I see him.
Stop there, Marshal. Don't you come no closer.
Put that gun away, Nadler.
I saw Chester. I knew you'd be in here next.
Why, Nadler?
You don't fool me. You know all about it.
You admit killing that rider?
I knew when I shot him I couldn't get by with it. My horse's tracks was all over the place.
Well, don't make it any worse than it is.
I told you not to come no closer.
Put your gun on the bar, Nadler.
You watch what I'm going to do with it.
No, Nadler, don't.
Why not? Hit you, didn't I? Now I'm going to kill you.
You hurt bad, Mr. Dillon?
He hit me in the arm, Chester, but I'll be all right.
You killed him?
Yeah. Do something with him, will you? I'm going over to Doc's.
Yes, sir, I will. Alvin.
Marshal Dillon?
Huh? Oh, Ma Smalley.
Why, you've been hurt.
Oh, it's not bad, Ma.
What about Joe Nadler?
He's dead.
I figured you would be. I heard you was looking for him. That's why I followed you down here.
Look, my arm's bleeding some, Ma. I better get over to Doc's.
Well, you hear me out first, Marshal.
Yeah, of course, Ma. Go ahead.
You'll be the one to tell Mrs. Nadler about him, won't you?
I guess so.
Take a wagon with you, Marshal.
What?
A woman can't live out there alone. Now, I got an extra room at my house if she'll help with the work.
Well, what about the baby?
It'll be her baby, Marshal. And tell her I won't interfere none neither.
Yeah, I sure will, Ma. I'll tell her all that. I'll go out first thing in the morning.
Well, you won't go nowhere. You just stand here gabbing all night. That arm's bleeding, Marshal. You ought to go get it fixed, you hear?
Yeah, you're right, Ma. But then you pretty off on a hard. You know, The buffalo hunters killed off the entire High Plains herd in a few short years, leaving the Indians to starve. And next week, this hunger sets off an Indian massacre. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, John Daner, Jeanette Nolan, Virginia Christine, and Frank Cady. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Help today and hope tomorrow is the slogan of the 7th Annual United Cerebral Palsy Drive. Support United Cerebral Palsy. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke.
City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what, Chester?
Just look at them doggone prairie dogs skittering all around everywhere, scurrying down all them holes.
Well, what about them?
Well, I was just wondering, did you ever give them much thought?
Oh, I can't say that I have.
Well, they ain't good for nothing. Not one cussed thing.
You're right about that.
But all they do is increase theirself and pock up the prairie at them holes.
You figuring on doing something about it, Chester?
Well, yes, Mr. Dillon, I thought I might just maybe write a letter to the government about it.
Oh? Well, you go right ahead and do that.
You think it'd do any good?
Well, sure it would, Chester. The government would turn it over to the nearest marshal's office. Then I could turn it over to you right away. And you could spend your time rounding up prairie dogs.
Well, come right down to it. I ain't such a hand to write letters after all. Look yonder, Mr. Dillon. A buggy pulled up to the side of the road there.
Yeah. Now, let's see if anything's wrong, huh?
What in the world would a lady be doing way out here all by herself?
Well, let's see. You need any help, ma'am?
It's that rear wheel. It just seemed to give way.
We'll have a look.
In Wichita, they said this was a down buggy.
You come all the way from Wichita? Alone? Without no man?
Well, I hope to meet him in Dodge City.
Well, but it just ain't safe for a woman to go driving all over Kingdom Come without no man.
Chester.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's just plain foolish.
Chester, let's have a look at the wheel, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's see here.
Yeah, look at there. The pin that holds the wheel on the axle's gone.
Uh-huh.
Wonder that wheel ain't rolling way across the tractor yet.
Yeah. There's not much we can do about it out here.
No, sir. That needs some first-rate blacksmithing.
Well, ma'am, looks like you're stuck here. Can you ride a horse?
Well, I've ridden a horse, certainly, but never on a saddle like that.
Well, don't worry about it. We'll lift you up and you can sit sideways. We'll walk the horse in. It's not too far to dodge.
I'm not sure. I'm not accustomed to traveling with gentlemen I don't know.
Well, I'm the marshal out of Dodge City, ma'am.
Marshal, I suppose it's all right then. My name is Sarah Howell.
Oh, Mrs. Howell. There's Chester Proudfoot.
I do, ma'am.
It's Miss Howell, Marshal. I'm not married. Yet. As a matter of fact, you might be able to help me about that.
Oh, how's that?
I'm coming to Dodge City to find my fiancé, Marshal. And maybe you can help me find him. Maybe you even know him.
Well, what's his name, Miss Howell?
His name is Guy Porter. He's a tall man and very handsome. Do you know him, Marshal?
No, ma'am, I'm afraid I don't. Are you sure he came this way?
He told me he was heading west. I have reason to believe he may be in Dodge City.
Oh, a lot of people come and go in Dodge, ma'am.
You'll help me find him. I know you will.
Well, a man can lose himself out here if he wants to, you know.
Oh, Guy isn't trying to hide from me, Marshal. He said he was coming back, and I know he meant it. No, I'm afraid something's happened to him. I'm afraid there's trouble.
Well, if there's trouble, ma'am, I'd stand a better chance of locating him for you. Yeah, come on. Let's get going.
Hello there, Chester. When did you get back?
Just a little bit ago, Miss Kitty. And I don't mind telling you, if I don't never take that ride to Park City again, I won't do no bellyaching about it. That is the one longest, driest, most no-count piece of country.
Did Matt come back with you?
Oh, yes, he did, Miss Kitty. He'll be in directly. He's seeing to a lady down to Moss Smalley's.
Oh? Where'd he find the lady? Park City?
Well, no, that ain't exactly the way it was. It was more like that he found her along the way. Curious thing.
Oh, come on over to the bar, Chester. I'll buy you a beer to wash some of that dust down.
Well, that is mighty friendly of you, Miss Kitty.
This lady you brought in.
Oh, do you want to hear about her?
Chester will have a beer, Sam.
Sure, Kitty. Sure do. Thank you, Miss Kitty.
Go on about the lady, Chester.
Here you are, Chester. Oh, thank you, Sam.
Chester, the lady?
Oh, yes. Well, she come from Wichita, Miss Kitty. And she wants Mr. Doone to round up a man who's supposed to be out this way somewhere.
Oh, does Matt know who he is?
No, he don't, but he wouldn't have no trouble recognizing him if he seen him. Tall and tow-headed. Followed him all the way from Wichita, she did. I guess women folks can do that better than anybody.
Do what, Chester?
Recollect what a fellow looks like. Why, they can take just one look at a man's face, and they got it stored away in their minds forevermore. How his teeth was set, the way his hair growed out. Why, man don't hardly have a chance.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about it.
What do you mean?
An awful lot of you get away.
Oh, well, hey, there's a stage going down the street, ain't it?
Oh, it sounded like it to me.
Yeah, well, then I better get down for the mail. Thank you for the beer, Miss
It's all right, Chester. See you later.
Yes, ma'am, I'll sure be back.
Sam, I'll be upstairs for a while.
All right, Kitty. Kitty.
Huh?
Can I see you a minute?
Oh, sure, Rance. What's on your mind?
What? That woman Chester was talking about. He say what her name was?
No, Rance, he didn't. Why?
Well, I just thought I might know her. I got kinfolk in Wichita. They was talking about a cousin coming out here.
Oh, well, I can tell you where she's staying. You could go down there and find out about it.
That'd help, all right.
Matt took her to Moss Smalley's, the boarding house in the south end of town.
Thanks, Kitty. I'll go down there right off.
come pounding in here like the devil's on your tail.
You better start worrying about that a little bit, Joe.
What do you mean?
You talked me into saying you could stay on here with me mighty nice. Claiming nobody saw you get away with that Wichita money.
Well, that's right. Nobody did.
Well, you should have looked back over the other shoulder. There's a woman asking all over town after you.
What?
She's giving you a description to the marshal, right down to that pretty white hair. And he's looking for you, too. Now, you just got to get out of here, Joe.
Now, just a minute, Rance. You sure you know what you're talking about?
I know, all right. This woman's from Wichita. She's staying at a town boarding house, and she's asking about you. Now, I don't want no trouble with the law.
Quit your bawling, Rance. There ain't gonna be no trouble.
But if she spots...
She ain't gonna spot me.
You gonna move on?
No. She is. Tonight.
How do you know?
I'm gonna fix it, that's how. You know where this boarding house is?
Yeah, well, sure.
All right. You show me after dark.
Well, now, you ain't gonna do nothing...
You want her to show me to the marshal?
Well, no.
Well, then leave it to me.
Oh, I tell you too, Miss Howell. Tain't often one of my lodgers takes it in mind to help out with the chores. Oh, I'd sooner not have idle hands, Mrs. Smalley. I am grateful to you. Would you care to come set a spell in the parlor when we finish up?
Oh, that's kind of you, but I think I'll just take a little stroll.
You're going out walking. Well, whatever for?
Guy, Mr. Porter and I, we used to stroll. We used to take lovely strolls in the summer evenings. Perhaps I might even run into him. Stranger things have happened, haven't they, Mrs. Smalley?
It ain't likely.
But there's always a chance in this life, Mrs. Smalley. Always a chance.
Well, you watch that you're back before it's full dark. Dodge City ain't the safest place in the world for a lady after nightfall.
Oh, I don't think you need to worry, Mrs. Smalley. I've never been troubled that way. I'm sure no one would bother me. Mr. Porter used to say a man can always tell a lady.
I'm sure that's so, my dear, but in this town, they just ain't particular if you're a lady or if you're not.
Rance, here, come over here. Did you find out who she is? You know where her room is?
I know who she is, all right, Joe. Her name's Howell.
Come on, then. Let's go.
Now, wait a minute. She ain't there.
Ain't there? You listen to me, Rance. It won't do you no good to try to trick me away from doing this.
Now, that ain't it. I swear it ain't. She went out for a walk. That's what they told me.
Out for a walk? Well, why would you... Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Quiet. It must be her walking alone.
Now, don't you do nothing, Joe. Don't you hear?
You be quiet. Now, you won't be talking about me or nobody else. Oh, hello, Matt. I was going to send somebody for you.
Yeah, I just heard Doc. How is she?
Well, man, I don't know. There must be something about this town. I'm continually being called in to take care of somebody who ought to be dead, but isn't. Not quite.
Does she have a chance?
Well, any doctor in his right mind would say no. She shouldn't be alive, but she is. I don't know. She just may stay that way.
Any idea who did it to her?
I didn't have time to ask.
Could I see her?
Oh, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
Would it hurt her?
Well, no, I guess it won't hurt her, but it won't do you any good.
She's delirious, Matt. She just keeps moaning and calling for somebody named Guy. She's not able to tell you anything.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the way they wanted it.
Here, Matt.
Oh, thanks, Kitty.
Well, it's hard to figure why anybody'd do such an awful thing. What could that poor woman have done to anybody?
I don't know, Kitty. It's pretty bad, even for Dodge.
She hasn't been able to tell you anything yet, huh?
I don't suppose she will be able to, even if she gets well. It was dark, and whoever it was jumped her from behind.
Dodge seems a strange place for a lone, middle-aged woman like her to come to, doesn't it, Matt?
Especially when she said she came to find the man she was engaged to.
You think he could have done it?
I'm not even sure there is such a man, Kitty.
Well, Rance Matson couldn't have been the one. He's much too young.
Rance Matson?
Yeah, that young farmer lives out of town away.
Oh, yeah, I know who he is. Well, what's he got to do with this?
Oh, maybe nothing, but he was in here earlier asking about the woman who came from Wichita. Thought she might be one of his kinfolk.
Oh, what do you want to know?
Her name, where she was staying. Matt, do you think...
I don't know, Kitty, but I'm sure going to find out.
I sure wasn't anxious to be out on this road again so soon, Mr. Dillon. Seems like we ain't hardly been off it.
Yeah?
We could have stopped off at the Matson place yesterday just as easy on our way back from Park City.
And it might have saved some trouble if we had, Chester. Yeah, come on, let's turn in here.
There's Rance standing out in front there.
Yeah. Hudson, I want to talk to you.
Why, he's running, Mr. Dillon.
And where you are?
Don't shoot again. Don't shoot.
Next time I'll be aiming for you. Get his gun, Chester.
Yes, sir. Now, look, Marshal, I don't want no more trouble.
Chester, keep an eye on him. I'm going up to the house.
Yes, sir. There's nothing inside.
All right, come on out of there. Come on. There are two of us here.
Don't shoot anymore. I'm hit.
Then come on out. All right, Chester, let's try to patch him up. I want him to last long enough to answer a few questions.
All right, Matt. Come in. Be as gentle about it as you can. She hardly has any strength left.
Okay, Doc. Miss Howell? Miss Howell?
Oh.
It's Matt Dillon, Miss Howell. I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Oh, Marshal. Nice of you to come to see me.
About the man you were looking for.
Guy? You found Guy?
Well, we might have, Miss Howell.
Guy. I knew I'd find him.
Now, you said that he was a tall man?
Tall, Marshal. Straight as a young tree.
And yellow-headed.
He has light-colored hair, all right. And it shines in the sun.
Well, we found a man that looks something like that.
When can I see him? Where is he, Marshal?
Well, now, just a minute, Miss Howell. You might not be so glad to see him as you think.
Oh, Marshal Dillon, you mustn't talk that way. I've never had a thought for any other man.
No, ma'am, I didn't mean that, but this man, he may have changed some since you last saw him.
Oh, not Guy. He couldn't have. Besides, it was just a little while ago.
I have to tell you, Miss Howell. This man is wanted for robbery in Wichita. And he may even be the man who beat you up.
Oh, Marshal Dillon.
I'm sorry, but that's the way it looks.
What? Guy Porter never did a dishonest thing in his life. Where is he, Marshal? Let me see him.
Well, I didn't know the way it turned out if you want to see him after all.
Please, Marshal, bring him to me.
All right, ma'am. She wants to see him, Doc.
All right, man.
Chester?
Yes, sir.
Bring him in.
Yes, sir. Hold on now. Mind you step soft. Take your hat off in a lady's bedroom.
Here he is, Miss Howell.
Guy? Guy? Come closer.
Oh, go on. Step up there.
Tall and slim. But you're old. Old. No, you're not Guy.
You sure about that, ma'am?
Of course I'm sure, Marshal. Why, Guy's young. Young. He's only a couple years older than I am, Marshal.
Young? Mr. John.
You better take him out here, Chester.
All right, Doc.
Matt?
Yeah, Doc, I'm ready to leave.
Just a minute, Marshal, if you please.
Yes, ma'am?
I don't seem to have made myself clear to you about Mr. Porter, Marshal. Perhaps in the interest of preventing another unfortunate error.
You don't have to talk anymore.
I prefer to get things straight, Doctor. Guy Porter is a young man, Marshal. We grew up together.
That's all right, Miss Howell.
No, it certainly is not all right. You clearly don't understand. Bringing in that middle-aged man in those rough clothes. Why, Guy would never let his uniform look so tacky.
His uniform?
Of course, Marshal Dillon. As long as the war continues, he'll be in uniform.
Matt.
Even though his regiment was ordered into the western wilderness, he'd never let himself look like that.
But you better leave, Matt. I'll give her something.
Yeah, Doc, you do that.
They ordered him west. And I waited and waited. And finally I came to find him. It was all right for me to come, wasn't it, Marshal?
It was all right, ma'am.
You won't make a mistake and bring me the wrong man again, will you, Marshal? Just Guy.
No, ma'am. I won't bring you the wrong man again.
By jing, I tell you for sure, Mr. Dillon, I'm glad they sent a deputy to take that outlaw back to Wichita on the stage. I sure wasn't hankering to ride that road again so soon.
Yeah.
He was an awful mean one, beating up a lady like that. Is Miss Howell going to be all right, Mr. Dillon?
I guess she'll get over the beating, Chester. But Doc doesn't think her mind will ever be any better.
How could she go on like that all these years, thinking that fellow was coming back to her?
I don't know. Your memory can do funny things.
Yeah, but Doc says she was carrying around a telegraph the War Department sent her years ago, telling her this Guy Porter had been killed.
Yeah, I know. But she didn't want to believe it. No, she didn't. And I guess she never will.
Produced and directed by Norman McDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Marion Clark, with editorial supervision by John Meston. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Clark Gordon, and Ann Morrison. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. This is George Walsh inviting you to join us again next week for another story on Gunsmoke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. Ladies and gentlemen, later on tonight's program, you'll hear a special message from the Honorable Edward F. Arnn, Governor of the state of Kansas. But now we bring you the first act of Gunsmoke.
I'll swear it's going to be spring before we know it, Mr. Dillon.
This weather won't hold, Chester. We always got a rip snorter after a spell like this.
Sure don't look much like it today. I even heard a meadowlark this morning.
It's early for meadowlarks, isn't it?
Yes, sir, that's what I'm telling you. Spring is downright staring us in the face. Well, the Texas Trail's kind of lively for this time of the afternoon.
Well, it'll be livelier if you're right about spring and those trail herds start rolling in.
Well, look who's here. And in the daytime, too.
Well, howdy, Miss Kitty.
Miss Kitty.
Isn't it wonderful out? And guess what, Matt? I heard a meadowlark this morning.
You and Chester.
Huh?
I've been telling him, Miss Kitty, spring is just around the corner.
Kitty?
Yeah.
How come there's such a crowd in here?
Oh, you mean the boys at the bar?
Yeah.
Well, it's some of the riders from the Cyclone Ranch. They're celebrating.
Well, it seems to me they were celebrating Saturday night. They're making kind of a long weekend out of it.
Oh, Jim Paulson said they all went back to the ranch Monday morning, but they got paid off.
What?
Yeah, the ranch was sold.
Sold? You mean old man Bartlett sold out? I hadn't heard anything about it.
Well, that's what they said. The new owner had already taken over, some stranger. He's the one who paid him off. He brought his own riders with him.
Well, what's this stranger's name, Kitty?
Well, I don't know, Matt. Ed Revere over there was Bartlett's foreman. Ask him.
Yeah, I think I will. Excuse me.
I figured old man Bartlett would stay on.
Howdy, Marshal. Figure on throwing us in the hoosegow?
No, Ed, I wasn't planning on it. Do you happen to know where I can find old man Bartlett?
Well, afraid you're out of luck. Him and his wife's left the country. At least that's what the fellow that bought the ranch told us.
You mean he didn't even stay around to pay you all?
Nope. Made up his mind right sudden, I reckon. Guess this fella Jed Wade made him a mighty good offer.
Jed Wade, huh?
Yeah. Texas man, more than likely. Ain't from around here, anyways. None of his cowboys, neither.
Then you haven't seen old man Bartlett since you left the ranch and came into town Saturday morning, huh?
Nary hide nor hair.
And he didn't say anything last week about planning to sell?
No, didn't. Sure can't figure old man Bartlett selling out. Said he put half his life into that place and planned on living out the rest of it right there.
Well, listen, Ed, let me ask you something.
Oh, yeah.
What do you figure about all this?
I don't know, Marshal. Except it ain't quite right somehow.
You don't think there's something crooked about it, do you?
Marshal, I don't know what to think. But it just ain't like Bartlett to run out this way. If there's anything I can do...
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ed.
Marshal, I don't even have to look it up in the records. There's been no deed of sale on the Cyclone Ranch filed in this office. If there had, I'd know about it.
Yeah, well, all right, thanks. That's all I wanted to know.
Furthermore, there won't be one filed. Old man Bartlett will live out his life and die right there. You take it from me.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured.
Mr. Dillon?
Oh, come on in, Chester.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Mifflin.
Oh, quite all right, sir. I believe our business is completed.
Yeah. What'd you find out, Chester?
I checked the depot and the stage lines, Mr. Dillon, and nobody in town hasn't seen either one of them since last week.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right, Chester. I guess we better ride out to the ranch.
Looks like that new outfit brought some of their own cattle up from Texas, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. And they're wasting no time slapping a brand on them, either.
Want to take a look at them?
No. Let's ride on up to the house.
I sure can't figure it, Mr. Dillon. Working night and day to build up a good feeder ranch like this and then up and selling out without even thinking it over.
Well, I can't figure it either, Chester. All right.
Oh. My golly, it sure is a fine ranch.
We ain't hiring anybody. Better mount up and ride.
Are you Jed Wade?
Name's Dallas. I'm the range boss.
Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Mr. Wade here?
He's out in the barn. What do you want to see him about?
Oh, suppose I take that up with him, huh?
And suppose you turn around and hightail it out of here. Whenever Jed's got business with the law, he'll come to you.
Now, look, mister.
You hadn't ought to talk to visitors that way.
Jed don't want strangers hanging around, Miss Wade. And he don't want you talking to strangers either. You better go on back in the house.
I guess I know better than you what my own son wants. I'm the only one that understands him. You come right on inside, gentlemen. Mr. Dillon, did you say that was the name?
Yes, ma'am, that's right. This is my partner, Chester Proudfoot.
How do, ma'am?
How do?
You fellas wait right there. I'll go get Jed.
I think we'll accept the lady's invitation. After you, ma'am.
Why, thank you, Mr. Dillon. Surely does perk a body up to be having callers in her own house. Especially when you live so long from hand to mouth.
I understand that you're new here, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Yes, we were camped for 3 weeks down along the river. Nary a caller, just living in a wagon. Oh, do be seated, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Ain't this a real pretty place now? Why, when Jed and Dallas rode back to camp Sunday morning and said they just bought a real bargain, I couldn't dream they meant something like this. A body just can't figure why the owners would ever want to sell it and leave. Would you gentlemen care for some cold buttermilk?
No, thank you, ma'am. You didn't meet the owners yourself then, huh?
No. They're already gone when I came over. Oh, you mustn't mind Dallas, Mr. Dillon. He's really a good boy at heart. Him and Jed just picked up a habit of talking mean like that sometimes, and seems like people just don't understand it. Mr. Dillon, Jed ain't got himself into some kind of trouble again, has he?
Again, Mrs. Wade?
Well, it's like I said. People just don't understand Jed lots of times. It ain't easy to bring up a boy alone, and a body don't always know what's the right way to do and what's not. But Jed's real good-hearted down underneath. Once you understand him like I do, why, the way he even talks to me sometimes, it makes you think that he was... Well, son,
What did I tell you about mouthing off to strangers?
But I was
Go on
only...
back, get in the kitchen.
Well, all right, son. You say so?
She's getting old, and it's been a hard trip up here.
Dallas told me you was here, Marshal. What can I do for you? What do you want?
I'd like to see your bill of sale for this ranch, Mr. Wade.
What for?
Well, I'll tell you after I see it.
Are you trying to accuse me of something?
Not if you got a bill of sale signed by old man Bartlett. Well?
All right, Marshal. There you are. Take a look.
Uh-huh.
Satisfied now?
Where did the Bartletts go, Mr. Wade?
They said they was leaving the country, and that's all I know about it. Yeah, you want to give me back my bill of sale now?
Well, I'd like to take it into town and check the signature, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. It'll check.
And then you got nothing to worry about, have you?
Nary thing, Marshal. Now, I don't know what's on your mind, but you're barking up the wrong tree.
If you ask me, Mr. Dillon, I'd say that Wade and his partner are ornery enough for anything. Just plumb cussed, downright sneaking mean.
Maybe so, Chester. But you can't jail a man for meanness, not as long as it only comes out in words.
I suppose. There ought to be a law of some kind. Now, take like the way he talks to his mama. I don't see how she can put up with it.
She's his mother, Chester.
Well, I know that, but there's
hello,
no...
Matt.
Oh, hiya, Doc.
Just getting ready to close up the office. How about feeding with me?
Later, maybe, Doc. Say, Doc, you still got that bill of sale on that horse you bought last fall from old man Bartlett?
Oh, sure, I guess so, Matt. Why?
Well, I just want to check Bartlett's signature.
Why, what do you got there? I know his signature pretty well. Let me take a look at that now, man.
Oh, here. See what you think, huh?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's old man Bartlett's scrawl, all right, of course it is.
Well, maybe I was wrong.
Yes, sir? It looks that way, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. But only about the bill of sale, Chester. We still don't know what happened to the Bartletts.
At this time, it is with great pride that Gunsmoke is able to bring you a specially recorded message by the Honorable Edward F. Arnn, Governor of the state of Kansas. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Arnn.
It's a real pleasure for me, on behalf of Kansans everywhere, to congratulate the CBS radio network, the writers, producers, directors, actors, and technicians on the splendid job you are doing with Gunsmoke. Here is real adult Western drama, without the usual horse opera cliches portraying an era and community of Kansas that graphically marked the formative years of our great state. Let me point out, however, the Dodge City of today is a far cry from the Dodge City so vividly brought to life in Gunsmoke. From those early pioneer and frontier days, Dodge City has developed into one of the fine cities of our state, industrially, agriculturally, and historically. The folks of Dodge City, and indeed all the people of this great sunflower state, thank you for a good job well done.
Thank you, Governor Arnn. And now the second act of Gunsmoke.
Big crowd in town tonight, Mr. Dillon. In here, too. Must be the feel of spring in the air. Get the man on the prod, makes him feel good.
Not me, Chester.
Yes, sir, I've been noticing that. You haven't said 1 dozen words in the last hour. It don't do a man any good to stay down in the dumps that way.
Yeah, drink your beer.
Well, now, we just made a mistake, that's all. Got the wind up over nothing.
Now we know it's old man Bartlett's signature, but I just can't help feeling that we haven't made a mistake.
Well, maybe you ought to make one, Matt.
Oh, hi, Kitty.
Everybody ought to make a mistake once in a while. Keeps them from getting old.
Or else helps them along.
What's your trouble, Matt?
Oh, feeling that somebody's guilty, not being able to prove it.
It's that Cyclone Ranch business, Miss Kitty.
Now, I know Bartlett didn't sell out.
His signature is on that bill of sale, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, but a man can be made to sign something, Chester.
Well, why don't you find Mr. Bartlett and ask him?
Well, I'd settle for just finding him. I don't think I'd need to do any more asking.
Do you mean that the way it sounds, Matt?
Yeah. I know I'm jumping at conclusions, but the way things add up, it's the only answer that makes any sense.
Well, I hope you're wrong, Matt.
Well, so do I, but I don't think I am.
Anyway, there's not much you can do about it right now. Why don't you forget it for a while? How about a round of drinks, Matt, in honor of spring?
Spring, huh? You and Chester.
Well, it is, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, even the coyotes feel it. Did you hear him just after dark tonight yapping down along the river bottom?
Yeah, I heard him. Kitty, would you mind if we had that drink later?
Well, all right. But where are you going?
Well, I just thought that Chester and I might take a little ride, that's all. Hold up a minute, Chester.
Yes. Be all right to roll a cigarette, Mr. Dillon?
No, you better not. We're too close to the Bartlett place.
Miss Kitty sure was right about those coyotes. Every one of them and his brothers out tonight, all yapping their fool heads off.
Yeah.
You suppose those coyotes really know it's spring coming, Mr. Dillon?
It could be.
They're sure scattered all over the countryside.
There seems to be more of them off there toward the river bottom, though.
Yes, sir. I believe you're right, Mr. Dillon. Wonder why.
I don't know. Might be worthwhile taking a look.
Yes, sir.
You know, it sounds to me like most of those coyotes are up around those river bluffs there by the bend.
Yes, Mr. Dillon, I believe it does at that.
Come on, Chester, let's ride over that way. They're on the other side of that willow thicket.
All right.
Now, let's cut through the thicket here.
Yeah. They must be awful interested in something, or they sure wouldn't let us get this close.
Well, I guess they heard you, Chester. I think most of them are over there at the foot of the bank. Let's take a look. Come on.
Chunk of the bank's caved off there, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Yeah, but the coyotes didn't do it. They've been trying to dig something up, not bury it. I wish there was more moonlight.
Yes, sir. Well, if you'd have told me what we were up to, I could have brought a lantern.
Well, I didn't know we were going to run into anything, Chester.
Yes, sir.
See if you can find a stick and let's scratch around in this loose dirt, huh?
All right, sir. Anybody tried to tell me this morning that I'd be out here in the middle of the night digging in that dirt like a groundhog. Not even knowing what the Sam Hill I was...
What is it, Chester? Did you find something?
Yes, sir. I sure have.
Here, let me see.
Mighty lucky hunch you had, Mr. Dillon.
Well, now we know why nobody saw the Bartletts leave town.
They killed him. They killed both of them.
Yeah. After they made him sign that bill of sale. Hit the dirt, Chester. They came from the edge of the bank up there. Watch for the next flash. Is that you, Wade?
Just to the left of that sumac, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I saw. You're under arrest for murder, Wade. Now throw down that gun and come out of there with your hands up. All right, Chester, let's open up on him. Careful, Chester. He may be faking it.
Yes, sir. Only one thing, Mr. Dillon. It's not Wade. It's Dallas.
Then let's go find Wade.
Ranch is dark. Looks like they're all in bed.
It may be easier that way.
Yes,
sir. I wish there was some way of keeping his mother out of it. I don't see how it can be.
Dallas? Is that you? You scared the coyotes away? I heard the shooting and I...
It's not Dallas, ma'am.
Why, it's the marshal and Mr. Proudfoot at this time of night. Well, this is quite a surprise.
Yes, ma'am, I reckon so. Is Jed here?
Well, I guess so. Maybe he's out in the barn or somewhere. What's wrong, Mr. Dillon? I sure do hope Jed ain't in some kind of trouble.
I just want to talk to him, Miss Wayner. Why don't you go on back in the house, huh? And we'll see if we can find him.
Well, all right, if you think best. You just go straight on back through the barn. I reckon you'll find him all right.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I know. Keep yourself covered.
I will. Sounds like he's working back there.
Yeah.
Bartlett put up enough prairie hay here to last for 3 years.
Right on back, Dallas. Just about. Got these here running irons finished.
Dallas won't be needing any running irons, Wade, or anything else. He's dead. We found where you buried the Bartletts.
That's where that shooting was. You and Dallas.
You're under arrest for murder, Wade. And if you make a move, you're going to end up the same way Dallas did.
How could I do anything, Marshal? I got no gun.
I noticed it hanging on the wall there behind you. You leave it there.
Sure.
Now lay down that hammer and stick out your wrist.
Sure. Anything you say. He smashed the lantern, Mr. Dillon.
Don't watch it, Chester. He'll have his gun now.
That's right, Dillon.
Get back, Chester. Get back toward the door.
I can't see a thing in all this smoke.
That haze is dry as powder. This burn's going to go up like a tinderbox. Wade! You haven't got a chance. Now come on out of there while you still can.
Why don't you come back here and get me?
You crazy fool. Come on out, now!
The heat's getting awful bad, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I know. Back toward the door, Chester. We're going to have to get out of here.
Let's go on. Cave it in.
Hold tight, Chester.
Even for a man like Wade, that's not a good way to die, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, no way is when you come right down to it, Chester.
Ted! I've got Ted! He's in there, Eddie. He's there in all that fire.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but...
You got to go get him out of there.
No, I'm afraid there's no use,
Go
ma'am.
in there myself.
No, it's too late to help me.
I always knowed it was going to end like this sometime. I always knowed it.
I'm sorry, Miss Wade.
Jed done something real bad, didn't he, Mr. Dillon? Him and Dallas. That's why you come back here.
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid so. They killed the people who owned this ranch. They buried them down along the riverbank.
Those boys done a lot of bad things, Mr. Dillon. But I don't hold with killing.
I'm sorry it had to happen this way, ma'am.
Mr. Dillon, I'd like to ask a favor.
Oh, why, certainly, ma'am.
I come out here in a wagon. It's out back of the house. Now that it's getting light, if you'd hitch up my team to it, I'd like to go back to town with you.
Chester?
Yes, Mr. Dillon, I'll do it.
I'll just take what I brought, Mr. Dillon. Nothing else.
Well, just as you like, ma'am.
It's all in the trunk. Funny thing. I never did unpack it.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Vivi Janis, Harry Bartell, Lawrence Dobkin, Joe Cranston, and Jerry Hausner. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Tomorrow night, Theater of Stars brings you Dana Andrews as a New England fisherman of the old school in a colorful, exciting drama of the clipper ship days titled The Token. Hear what happens when a determined young lady steals her sister's betrothal token and then sets out to steal the stalwart young fisherman as well. It's on Theater of Stars tomorrow night on most of these same stations. A feature presentation of CBS Radio at the Stars address. And you've heard of people stopping the show. Well, there's a show on CBS Radio every Sunday evening that stops the people. It's the Jack Benny Show, of course. And when it comes on the air, practically everybody stops doing practically everything except laughing. So tomorrow night, just stop everything and listen to Jack Benny. He'll be on your favorite CBS radio station. George Walsh speaking. And remember, Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks also teaches you how to laugh Sundays on the CBS Radio Network.